uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Welcome to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Wow. It was just Thanksgiving, wasn't it? What am I thankful for? Well, these three things. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Consequently, the Bucs didn't get the memo from a couple weeks ago, coming off a bye week. Did they, Bucs fans? 7-3 and outs on offense is not going to get it done. Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rashard White, Julio Jones. It should be better than this by now. But you're still winning the game 17-10. And in true Buccaneer fashion, as one of my good friends said to me in a text message, the Bucs are in a giving mood because 'tis the season to give. What am I thankful for? The Bucs defense giving up the lead. Letting the Browns go down there and score. Who's the team right now that's competing for a division? Tell me. Is it the Browns or the Bucs? Because I couldn't tell today. I couldn't. Great one-handed catch by David Njoku, which, by the way, bad coverage by Devin White. You go to overtime. What happens? You lose Tristan Wirfs, your best offensive lineman. What am I thankful for? The offensive play calling still stinks on this team. It stinks. Yeah. What did we learn last week about this team? You know, it's like a Bruce Arians comment when talking about Jameis Winston at the end of the season. There's so much good, but so much terrible with this team. Apply it. Apply what you know. Defense missing tackles. Penalties for this team. Oh, the Bucs should have beat this team. No, they shouldn't have. 9 penalties. What are you talking about? Time of possession. 39 minutes by the Browns. Domination. We talked about the challenge. Not stopping the running game. 100 yards rushing by Nick Chubb. But still, the Bucs are in the game. They have the opportunity in overtime. And what did they do? Who fell down? Was it Carlton Davis? Because Amari Cooper was wide open. Bucs lose in overtime, 23-17, and they deserve it because they gave the game away. By the way, somebody has to explain to me, in the 40 years of watching football, why in the world, when you have 3 timeouts, you don't use one of them before overtime. Coaching 101. I don't get it. Tom Brady was somewhat accurate, but still missing throws at critical times. I'm sorry. If it hurts your feelings, go into the corner. This is not your dad's sports talk show. This is the real deal. This is the evolution. He's missing throws to Chris Godwin, who, by the way, was the only one that showed up on offense. Once again, somebody explain this to me like I'm an 8-year-old, because that's when I started watching football. How do you have a wide receiver and Mike Evans and he only has 2 catches for the day? How? How does that work out, guys? Tell me. Even non-football fans know that Mike Evans is going to be your main playmaker, and you can't find a way to get him the ball? What are we talking about? All this talent. You score 17 points. Ridiculous. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas, Cleveland Browns. Now you get to put the controls over to your perverted quarterback. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here on a happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, and how do we start out this show on a Wednesday night? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, as my co-host, hopefully, as we talk about some of the biggest stories of the day. As my phone is going off, please stop texting me if you are. I'm on a live show. Thank you. Well, after that, we'll take your phone calls, as always, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Of course, about 10:15, 10:20, we'll have the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, on talking with us about WWE, AEW with Turnbuckle Talk, and of course, Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg. We have no co-host tonight. We'll talk to you once again, 727-255-0391. Let me go out to Roger Shue. AEW is on. Why do you got a show on at the same time? Why don't you be a producer? Why don't you get in front of the mic here if you feel like you can do this better? I'm not really in the good mood tonight, to tell you the truth. And I could easily just say, you know what? I'm just going to get off and watch AEW wrestling. But I'm here for you guys. I'm here to talk about Tom Brady. I'm here to troll you back.
Acknowledge me.
I do acknowledge you. I do acknowledge you, tribal troll, Mr. Roger Shue. But I will also, if you troll me tonight, I will do this.
Shut up!
I will do this. I will do this.
How about no?
I will do this. I got plenty of sound effects out there. So we'll definitely talk about the big stories of the day involving your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as they are going to be playing the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. We'll get you ready for that. Talk about some of the stories that are going on with Tom Brady. There was a report today he could be headed back to the New England Patriots for 2023. Want to get your thoughts on that. Also had some more comments on his Let's Go podcast. As you can hear my dog in the background, he loves it. I always love to hear from Alexander during the show. You got to love that. And we will talk about not only the USF coaching situation, because there's some updates on that. I know there's a lot of people that are interested. And what did Devin White do with the defense on Monday night to possibly settle them down and make them come together? All that and more on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Get on the phone lines. Definitely want to hear from you, Bucs fans. I get it. They're 5-6. It's not necessarily looking the best right now, but this is a must-win game. Make no mistake about it. And I hate the New Orleans Saints. Hate them. Hate them. So this is the week. Of course, the Bucs won earlier matchup in week 2, 20-10. So we'll see if they can pull out a win because they have to. Because if you see this team going 5-7, it's not going to be pretty. The schedule gets a little bit tougher after that. This is a winnable game. Make no mistake about it with the New Orleans Saints. Losing to the San Francisco 49ers 13-0. Not necessarily knowing who their quarterback is. I guess it's Andy Dalton, but who knows? We could see Jameis Winston if this offense continues to struggle. Just saying. Of course, who could forget about the first matchup between Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore? Did you all forget about that? I didn't. I never forget about that. So those are the storylines. That's definitely what we're going to be talking about tonight. And once again, taking your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And again, lots of talk of wrestling. Yes, we talk wrestling on this show. People don't like it? Tough. Go to another show. But it seems to be popular with some of the webheads here. So we'll definitely talk about that also. I would be remiss not to mention our sponsor, one of the main sponsors of the show here, newest one, uwager.lv. If you're looking to wager on National Football League action, college football, NBA, hockey right now, uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb. If you put my promo code in there, it's 80% bonus. Once again, uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb. All right, so let me go back out to these comments here. Pig Dog Video 2001. Peter, did you see the swerve with MJF and Regal coming? That was pretty good surprise. Absolutely saw it coming. We talked about that on this show. A lot of people thought that he would use the ring at the end of the day, but he didn't. He actually threw the brass knucks in there. Not a surprise. The confusing thing is what he had to say, what Jon Moxley had to say to him on last Dynamite. Run far away. A lot of people have said maybe William Regal, goes back to WWE, but he's still under contract. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they play that storyline out. We'll talk about that in the 10 o'clock hour with you. But I'm not surprised. It's the right decision at the end of the day. AEW should have put the belt on the 26-year-old superstar MJF. They should have absolutely did that. Let's go out to Matt. I'm watching AEW Dynamite. See, you can watch both. You can watch it on your phone and you can watch AEW Dynamite. Sometimes it gets a little boring, so you can comment here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. And let's go out to Christopher Cole here. Hey, Peter and everyone. So let's get to it. The main news of the day here. And I'll tell you what, hold on a sec here. Let me just go ahead and go to a commercial break here. Stand by. We'll be right back.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SportsWeb. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
All right, I had to settle the dog down. Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. So the main story of the day, this from the Athletics' Jeff Howe. who has covered the Patriots for more than a decade, says actually, don't ever write off the Patriots from getting back Tom Brady. Okay? How about that? Tom Brady going back to the New England Patriots. And, the reason why he left the Patriots in the first place is because of his relationship supposedly with Bill Belichick. So this is being put out there by the Athletic's Jeff Howe. And he says the Patriots are slated to have more than $50 million in cap space in 2023 so they can again address their flaws, this time on the heels of a couple impressive draft classes. Brady and head coach Bill Belichick still have an abundance of respect for one another. They made points to say publicly on multiple occasions since the quarterback departed for Tampa. They also spent 23 minutes together in the visiting locker room at Gillette Stadium following Brady's return in 2021, an appointment they set up prior to the game. So my question is, and for further context of this, he says, however, added to that, no egos or pride would get in the way of Brady returning. It came down to that instead of offensive play calling. With that being said, one of former Brady's teammates, Matt Light, said, I wouldn't put anything past him. The guy wants to win. He knows how to do it with a guy like Belichick. I think he's seen the differences now. I mean, he only played for Bill, and then he goes down to Tampa, and he's had a couple head coaches down there now. He could conceivably come back and want to be a proven winner. So what do you guys think? Are you worried about Tom Brady going back to the New England Patriots? Are you worried about him leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of the offensive struggles that they've had this year, only scoring 18 points a game? I guess it's certainly a possibility. I mean, you go back to those comments from Todd Bowles, not necessarily the most impressive comments, right? Not the biggest ringing endorsement for Tom Brady when you have a coach that says, the reason why I called those timeouts in the first place is because I didn't want my quarterback to throw an interception. I'm just saying, Tom Brady's a winner. He wants to win at the end of the day. A lot of talk of not only the New England Patriots, but the San Francisco 49ers and also the Raiders because of Josh McDaniels. But see, I look at this situation and I feel like at the end of the day, even with the Bucs struggles, they can still put this together, right? You still do have Mike Evans. The connection hasn't been there the last couple of games. You have Chris Godwin getting healthy. You have a young weapon like Cade Otton. You have Julio Jones. We know that they're going to be missing Tristan Wirfs here for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to be tough sledding. So is it possible that this thing could definitely go into a downward spiral? Absolutely. And if it does by the end of the year, who knows? But it certainly seems like the Bucs have the advantage here to win the NFC South. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. MJF just attacked Regal, took him out on a stretcher. Well, there you go. I have no idea where they're going with that storyline. Think whatever you want to. We're getting wrestling updates here on the Sports Web. Ralph Williams says, talk to you later. Okay. Roger says, I told you a month ago he's going to the Patriots. He said I was crazy, not so crazy now, huh? Well, I got to have some reasons why you think he's going to go to the Patriots besides of what I just said. Because, again, this is just a story that's been thrown out there. I'm never going to rule anything out. I told you that last year with Brady retiring and then unretiring, and then after that you have BA retiring suddenly and Todd Bowles being named the coach. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for this to happen, especially with the Bucs struggles. With that being said, Brady had some comments last night on his Let's Go podcast. He said, it's been obviously a long night. I have not slept great, as you can only imagine. And I think one important thing we talked about today was just a 24-hour rule in sports. When things don't go your way and you don't win the game, deal with it for 24 hours and then move on. I'm just about to the 24-hour mark. And after that, I start thinking about what this week is about to bring. It was a tough loss for our team. We did a lot of great things, and obviously there were plenty of things we did poorly, and ultimately it just leads to a very difficult road loss. No one can afford road losses this time of the year. We certainly can't, but we're going to keep fighting our tails off like we have all season long. Again, added to this, the defense is in the top 10 in points and yards allowed. The offense is only 27th in points scored and 18th in yards gained. That's why I keep on focusing on this with Todd Bowles and what he's done as a coach with this offense. And it is a defensive mindset. That is not the Bucs way. It's not. And you can't continue to have constant 3 and outs all the time. It's just not going to work for you. It's going to wear your defense out. You saw it last Sunday versus the Browns, what it did. And now you have a tough Saints team coming in here, which defensively, with that matchup we talked about earlier on with Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. And that's a matchup that I got to be honest with you, Mike Evans has never been able to win. But what a night to show up. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Brady goes on to say once again on his Let's Go podcast, I think it's consistency for you. You know, so many positive plays and then undone by kind of untimely mistakes by our team. We've talked about this. You know, look at the play that you get a first down with the shovel pass from Brady to Rashard White. And then you have Donovan Smith pick up a ridiculous penalty with hands to the face. It nullifies it. It changes everything. It changes the complexion of the game. Those are the type of things that Tampa Bay wasn't doing the last 2 years that now they're doing. And that's why I say they can't afford to make those mistakes because they're not good enough to overcome those mistakes. To continue on, and it's not one player. It's not one position. Football is the ultimate team sport. I've always believed as a leader, you always take the blame and you always give the credit. And that's just, I always feel like, because really that's what leadership is all about. I always look at what I need to do better. He also says, I had a chance to hit Mike Evans down the sideline in overtime to win the game, and I didn't get it done. I said that in my diatribe on Sunday, and people still look at me like, I'm the worst person on earth, like I killed their dog or something. As I've said over and over again the past couple weeks here, Brady's missing throws at critical times. Was I wrong? Well, go to the source. I've had a chance to hit Mike Evans down the sideline in overtime to win the game, and I didn't get it done. That's accountability. That's your leader telling you he's not necessarily playing his best football. You can give into the outside noise and everyone telling you, oh, it's not your fault, it's someone else's fault. I think that's BS. Once again, accountability. Can I repeat that? I'll tell you what. Let's go out to the phone lines here. We'll finish up with these comments. But the point can be made that even Tom Brady is critical of his own self. All right. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Scott. Is this Ben?
This is not Ben. This is Pete on the Sports Web, my friend. How you doing? What do you want to talk about tonight?
Ben said he was going to be on at 8 o'clock Central Time, so I was just checking to see what was going on.
No, that's me, buddy. This is the number to the Sports Web. This is me. Okay. I think he was directing you to my show. Do you want to talk something sports related?
Just can you give my Rams some CPR?
Can I give your Rams some CPR? Okay. Well, I tell you right now, the Rams have definitely needed some CPR. In fact, it certainly seems like they're dead at this juncture with their offensive line being in flux. And then Matt Stafford looking like he's not going to play for the majority of the year here. And this year is almost over. I mean, I got to get your thoughts. How disappointed are you by your LA Rams, who, by the way, won the Super Bowl last year?
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. Remember who won Super Bowl 56. Yeah, with Cooper Kupp out, and I don't think Stafford should play the rest of the year. There's no sense in making him unavailable for the rest of his life. I have a friend that played for the 49ers, and he had a collision with a safety. And
who's your friend?
Donovan Newsom. He played for Mizzou.
Okay.
And he didn't get drafted, but 49ers picked him up, and he had a collision with a safety when they were going after the same guy.
Sorry to hear that.
He was out for 10 minutes, and he has traumatic brain injury, and doctor told him.
Sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, your Rams at this point, I mean, it starts with the offensive line. It ends with the offensive line. I mean, I don't know what's worse of an offense this year. Is it the Rams or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And, you know, the Bucs a couple weeks ago, they beat the Rams in a game that was basically, you know, a showcase of two struggling offenses. And I guess he decided to leave me. So that's how it goes. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to him. What happened? You hung up on me. What's going on?
I don't know. Some kind of connection problem.
Okay.
I'm on a cell phone, so it's sitting on the desk. I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Well, you know, just going back to your Rams, I mean, you tell me, you know, how disappointed are you with this team this year? And what do you think is going to turn it around if you can turn it around? Because, you know, at the end of the day, we all know you won the Super Bowl last year. Your team and organization decided to mortgage the future. I don't have a problem with it. The only problem is that now you've got an older quarterback. You've got no draft picks. So basically, you're stuck like Chuck. What do you say?
I say trade Ramsey for 2 first-round draft choices.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best corners in the league when he wants to be, but he's highly inconsistent to a certain degree. I don't know if you're going to get 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if you're going to do that. You're going to have to start trading some players away. Aaron Donald is not going to play in the game on Sunday. His first game he's missed due to injury in his entire career. That's the kind of year you guys are having, man.
Well,
yeah.
If McVay takes the job with Amazon and Cooper Kupp can't go next year, I think Aaron Donald just retire. I think he has.
You think so, huh? Well, he just signed an extension, did he not?
Yeah, but I think there's a clause in there that says that he can retire.
Really? Okay. Well, I don't know if McVay's going to do it. There was a lot of talk of McVay doing that, but the reason why that coach was putting it out there, much like a lot of college football coaches do with their programs they're at, he was trying to leverage himself to get more money. And that certainly looks like that's what happened there. And then on top of it, Donald was doing the same thing. So I'm not sure if he's going to take the job with Amazon, but I will give you a name out there, and I'm not sure if they would give him up. But let me ask you this. What about a Sean Payton? Sean Payton has been mentioned. There's a possibility he wants to get back into coaching. How about Sean Payton to the LA Rams? And would you be willing to give up some picks? Although the problem is you really don't have those available. But would you be willing to give up players to the Saints in order to get a coach like a Sean Payton if that happened?
If McVay goes, we're going to need somebody.
Okay.
I mean, the only other person to be available maybe Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, well, I don't think Saturday is going to be a coach much longer. Did you see the debacle of what happened the other night on Monday Night Football? I mean, he made Todd Bowles look like a timekeeper with the way he had time management against the Steelers the other night. Good stuff. What else, my friend?
Not much. Can't talk about the XFL. St. Louis has got a nice XFL and the Battlehawks.
Okay. Still watching that?
It hasn't started up yet, but
I mean, you're still interested in that when it comes back?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in St. Louis, and St. Louis is the last Battlehawk game. They had sold out the third level.
Okay.
Over 30,000, and then they canceled the game because of COVID.
So you still watch the Rams, and even though you're in St. Louis and they left you high and dry, you still watch the Rams. I tell you what, that's pretty good. That's a diehard fan right there. Good stuff, my friend. Thanks a lot for calling the Evolution, and definitely don't be a stranger here, all right?
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate you. Good stuff there. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. All right, let's read some of these comments because you definitely make the show. You webheads out there, you can text in, you can call in, you can be a part of the show if you want to be. If you don't want to be, then I'll just sit here and talk to myself all day long. And I'll play this. All right, so let's see here. So I read that. Not so crazy anymore. Again, it's a rumor. I mean, we heard about the rumors from last year that he was headed to the Miami Dolphins with Sean Payton, and it didn't happen. So there's probably going to be 20 more rumors about him headed to the San Francisco 49ers or the Raiders at the end of the day. And look at that. I got my co-host in the building. Let me read the rest of these comments, and we'll come out to him and get his thoughts on this. BA retired because Brady forced him out. There is something to that. I don't know. I'm not privy to the information, but I wouldn't call that far-fetched. I wouldn't. And that's the reason why I don't think he's headed back to the Patriots. Because Tampa Bay has given him everything he wants. Every player decision, play calling to a certain degree, everything that he wants. He doesn't have that friction here with the Bucs. So why would he head back to the Patriots? You know, for me, it's just kind of a rider throwing something at the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. Just saying. All right, Brady stays in Tampa if he plays next year. He's not that type of ditch guy. He talked into signing back with Tampa and then Bellham's. Great point. Great point, Dave, because he did recruit Carlton Davis. He did recruit a Leonard Fournette. He did recruit a Ryan Jensen who got hurt this year, who's a major part of this offensive line that's missing. Exactly. Jensen 3 years, Godwin 3 years, Lenny 3 years. Brady's coming back. Good stuff. Like it. Like it a lot.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let's go out to Dave here. BA is the reason the mistakes are being made. He held players accountable. Bowles doesn't. I agree. It's a great comment.
Woo!
And I know I've been taking a lot of heat on this because BA is no risk it, no biscuit, but I think that was the identity of this team. And it cannot be stressed enough with a 2-time Coach of the Year, Super Bowl champion, that doesn't take flack. He's called Brady out. He's called other players out. You need this on this team right now. You do. That's what you need. Let's go out to Roger. Will Brady take accountability when the Bucs don't make the playoffs? Well, right here, he's taking accountability that he's not playing well. So for that, you get this.
Shut up!
Dave says 2 number ones for Ramsey. I see you, Harry, right there. I see you. Ben says, I honestly don't see anyone giving up first round or let alone 2 for Ramsey at this point. I could see a second-round pick for Jalen Ramsey for sure. Dave says Peyton is going to the other LA team, the Chargers. He's eyeing Herbert for the next 10 years, and why wouldn't you? If you're Sean Payton, you get an opportunity to work with a young quarterback like Justin Herbert with the Chargers, absolutely. Dream scenario, if they can stay healthy with all the weapons they have, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and a young quarterback. And we know what Sean Payton can do for an offense. And that was the biggest point of contention when he moved on and retired this year, is that the Saints would not be that good. And they're not that good. Their offense has struggled mightily. Let's go out to Alec here. But do you think of him being in full control of everything is somewhat a bad thing? I do. To a certain degree. Yes, I do. That's been my point also. You got to have that friction. Bill Belichick brought the best out of him. BA, in my opinion, brought the best out of him. Say whatever you want to, but look at the numbers. Look at the offensive numbers. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's get out to this guy right here, my co-host. Here we go. Professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, and the big story of the day from Jeff Howe of The Athletic. Don't be surprised that Tom Brady next year heads to the New England Patriots. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Yeah. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Don't be surprised if Brady goes to New England. Don't be surprised if he goes to New Orleans. Don't be surprised if he goes to Miami. Don't be surprised if he switches with Garoppolo. Hell, we might as well throw the Philadelphia Eagles in there again because they're built to win. Hold on. Don't be surprised that he just doesn't go off into the sunset and just retires.
Well, see, and I think there's more of a possibility, Harry, that he actually sticks around simply because he's now divorced. He has nobody telling him he can't play football. He came back after retiring last year. I just don't think the guy can stay away from the game. And you look at the numbers, again, he's missing critical throws, and he even talked about this, and I'll go back to that in a moment, how he said he missed Mike Evans. He still has 14 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Not too bad for a 45-year-old quarterback.
No, not too bad at all. But really, I mean, people are going to say he's saying he's having an off year. When he won his Super Bowls, he said, I could be playing better. Don't read too much into this, please. Just don't read too much into that.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to the comments here because, again, I think it's important. I think it's consistency for, so many positive plays and then undone by kind of untimely mistakes by our team. And it's not one player. It's not one position. Football is the ultimate team sport and has always been believed. I've always believed as a leader, you always take the blame and you always give the credit. And that's just, I always feel like that because really that's what leadership is all about. I always look at what I need to do better. I had a chance to hit Mike Evans down the sideline in overtime to win the game, and I didn't get it done. He also goes on to say, you can give in to that outside noise and everyone telling you, oh, it's not your fault, it's someone else's fault. I think that's BS. It's your fault. When you lose, you take it personally when you lose, and you shouldn't sleep at night when you lose. You should only think about what you need to do to help the team more, and that's what I lay in bed at night after games thinking about. It's a tough situation to be in, having a losing record, but that's our reality. We haven't done anything to earn more than that. And if you want to win games, if you want to win a fight, if you want to win a golf match, if you want to win your Monopoly game, you got to earn it. No one's going to hand it to you. You got to go out there every day and try to earn it through the process of improvement. Your thoughts?
More thoughts. It's just very well put. I mean, that's the definition of a leader.
Yes.
Okay. That's the definition of a leader. People that set a good culture, being a leader, those are the things that make a great leader. And that's why he's the GOAT. And by the way, the Bears just signed a new quarterback named TB12. It just broke just now.
TB12.
I'm not kidding you. This
who?
is not a joke. The Bears announced on Wednesday that they signed quarterback Tim Boyle and defensive lineman Andrew Brown. They pulled his name is TB12, and they got. Hold on, this is true.
Go ahead.
That's what his nickname is TB12. I swear to you.
BS. That is BS at the end of the day. He could be
Google
Susan
it.
Boyle. He's terrible. Tim Boyle? Is that the same quarterback that played for the Lions? I'd rather have Susan Boyle at college.
Listen. He was originally an undrafted free agent that went to the Green Bay Packers. Now the Bears it just came out in the Chicago Tribune. I just seen it. Bears announced they just stole TB12. What? From where? And I'm reading it from Detroit. That's his nickname, TB12.
Yeah. Well, I tell you right now, he needs to change his nickname at this point. It's like any athlete that's named Michael Jordan. All right, just change your name at the end of the day.
I just thought it was hilarious when
Kobe
I read
Bryant,
that.
for that matter, for the Seattle Sea. Yeah, you're not the Black Mamba. You're playing well, but you're not the Black Mamba. Just saying. Again, I'd rather see Susan Boyle start at quarterback than Tim Boyle. He's terrible. It's a slow news day in Chicago. All right, let's talk about this matchup, and then we'll get back to what the Bucs defense did on Monday night. I mean, how do you see it playing the New Orleans Saints, who are 4-8 at this juncture? The Bucs 5-6. I mean, divisional matchup. We know about the Bucs' troubles with the Saints, although they beat them in week 2, 20-10. I mean, how do you see this matchup, Greek?
I got to tell you, that's also a very, very, very weird game. It's been taken off most of the boards, and while I'm talking to you, I am looking at other lines as well to see if this game's been removed from your site as well. And
has it?
Let me see.
It
has not. No, wait a minute. The Buccaneers are now -4 points, and the line is 40.5. So they're saying that there's not going to be much.
Well, right there it is, guys. If you want to wager on this,
you got a horrible line. You got the Bucs at -4, but Caesars has it right now at 3.5 from Tampa Bay.
Uwager.lv promo code SportsWeb right there. There's your advertisement again for the night. Will you shut up and be quiet? All right, so
It's 3.5 on one site. It's 4 through the UWager site. But you know what's the same as the 40.5? It's a very interesting line, and depends on who's playing quarterback. And if New Orleans has the capabilities of running on this Tampa defense, they're going to put up some points on this in this game. But I'm going to give everybody a little early prediction. I love the under.
Love the
Absolutely
under.
love the under. Yeah. Absolutely love the under, and you don't worry about it because Tampa could be 2 games under 500 if they don't run the football against this team.
Well, I think you're almost at this point. We're on with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. At the end of the day, I feel like you're going to have to change your game plan because you're going to be without your best offensive lineman and clearly Tristan Wirfs for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So you have to see more run game. And there's a possibility they will get back Leonard Fournette. Could you see them running the ball 30 to 35 times? Is that the way they have to approach this matchup with the Saints in order to beat them on Monday night?
I don't know. Again, if they don't run the football and Todd Bowles knows what he needs to do to win the game, I guess my analogy and our assumptions that we were talking about on your post-game show when the Bucs took that such a BS loss against the Cleveland Browns, it might be true. Maybe this coaching staff is afraid of Tom Brady. But do I think they're going to run the ball 30 to 35 times in this game? No. It's only wishful thinking.
Well, I tell you right now, if they're looking to try to pass the ball with Josh Wells at the right side and Donovan Smith and how questionable he is versus a Cameron.
Don't worry. They're going to continue to try to pass the ball.
Well, it better be quick. It better be quick passing because in Alvin Kamara, you talk about him. I mean, he's a dangerous weapon, but
he's not what he was.
No, he had fumbled twice last Sunday versus the San Francisco 49ers. And here he actually only averaged 1.9 yards per a carry. I get it. The 49er defense is pretty good, and this Bucs defense
who, by the way, who was missing 3 of their starting defensive linemen in that game. Just a little food for thought.
Right. And also this food for thought, the last 5 games, he has been under 4 yards per a carry. So Kamara, in my opinion, looking at this matchup, he's actually better in the passing game than he's in the running game. Is that how you see it?
Well, yeah, but after watching some of these games and, watching a lot of the tape, especially for New Orleans, opposing defenses are not respecting the passing game from them. Go figure.
Right.
Hence the reason why being under 4 yards an attempt.
Yeah, Chris Olave is the most targeted guy right now. It certainly seems like because, of course, Michael Thomas, they've had their fair share of injuries all year long. Olave, of course, the first-round pick out of Ohio State. He has that speed threat. You're going to match him versus Carlton Davis. There was also some great injury news in favor of the Bucs, which is nice to have finally. The Bucs have designated safety Logan Ryan for return from injured reserve. His 21-day practice window has begun. Pretty likely he could play this Monday with several players injured, including Antoine Winfield Jr. So you may not have Winfield Jr. on Monday night, but you may have back Logan Ryan. And to me, he's far better than Sean Murphy-Bunting. I'm sorry. Murphy-Bunting just is too inconsistent for me. What's the impact versus an Andy Dalton for a Logan Ryan in this defense?
There's a lot to worry about. I mean, Andy Dalton can still sling the ball around the parking lot. I mean, let's just not be stupid about this. You're going to fall asleep in this guy. This guy will put you to sleep. Trust me when I tell you.
Sure, any quarterback will get after.
They can, but again, they have one wide receiver to contend with. Tampa is going to really line up defensively very well against this team. The problem with it is Tampa going to run the football? It's not the defensive side of the football. They're going to play New Orleans extremely tough. It's a divisional game, so don't expect a whole bunch of points being scored. New Orleans has really had Tampa's number the past 4 or 5 years. But I got to tell you, man, I kind of like Tampa in this game, but they better play ugly football to win this game.
With that being said, it has been ugly with Tom.
Too many injuries. That's right. The only reason why, especially in the defensive line. And it's not sure that Cam Jordan's playing.
Well, I mean, and that's a good thing, and hopefully Marshawn Lattimore doesn't play. But that's the kind of matchup you're looking forward to on Monday Night Football.
If Cam Jordan is playing, you better run the ball 35 times because that man will have. You ready? As old as he is, he will have a career day.
Oh yeah, he's been a Bucs killer. He's
Because the right side of that line is decimated. And you know what? If Wells does end up playing well, they'll throw Cam Jordan on the other side. You better have a lot of 12 personnel in there because it could be very ugly.
Well, speaking of a whipping boy
But,
on sports,
hold on. How do
yes.
you fix that all, Peter? How do you nullify and slow down a pass rush, Pete?
Well, you can do it by two things. You can run the ball. You can keep people off balance,
Or continue to run the ball.
Or you can also chip a tight end on those sides on the right side, or chip a running back. You don't allow those offensive linemen to be out on the island, especially with the Cam Jordan, who has absolutely killed you. And to go through statistics wise here, according to Pro Football Focus and Greg Auman, Donovan Smith ranked 69th out of 76 NFL tackles. Now, check this out, Harry. They had him at 14th out of 83 last year. That's a significant drop-off at the position where they need stability. What do you make of Donovan Smith dropping off this year? Because he's definitely given up some sacks. As Blake Anthony would say, he's given up the cheeks. I mean, what do you make of this decline by Mr. Smith?
It's never really been a decline. The problem's been the other part of the offensive line. Let's call it what it is. And you don't have Rob Gronkowski. You've lost a plethora of tight ends, and you got a rookie running back who's been stonewalling every chance you get. Let me tell you something. Donovan Smith has not been playing as bad as what you think. Okay, he's been playing the same exact way that he played even back in the Super Bowl year. He has to have help on that left side, as 95% of the left tackles in football need.
Well, there's some guys that can definitely hold their own. And like I said,
hold on. I said 95%, but can you do me a favor? I don't want you to name me one. I want you to name me 3 left tackles that don't need help on the left side. Just name them.
It's
go ahead.
It's kind of you
know why you can't answer it? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes.
And I don't mean to do that. I implore anybody to tell me. There's not one left tackle in all of football that can play the entire game. Not one.
No,
not one. There is not one left tackle that can go up against a Khalil Mack, that can go up against a Cam Jordan, that can go up against Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons isn't fair because he plays the middle. He's not playing the outside. I'm talking about a pure edge rusher.
Well, he's playing the outside too. He's playing you're right on that.
You need help on the left side.
Right. But
the end.
Well, it's not always the end. I mean, you're going to have to play that left tackle on the outside sometimes when you go 3-4 wide receiver sets. You're going to have to. You're not always going to be able to use the tight end.
And that's when the ball – and you know what, Pete? We're going to go back to that vicious circle. It's going to keep circling back. Everybody wants to chuck it and duck it. Okay, the risk it, no biscuit. You can't play it with this offense right now. This offensive line is banged up.
Right.
And I'm going to say it again. If Todd Bowles was not the head coach right now, and BA was with this offensive line, you'd have 1 or 2 less wins. I'm telling you.
You know, I disagree with you on this because
that's why
the last 2 years show it's totally different. This team was a top 5, top 10 offense with BA. I mean, I don't know how you could say that. I mean, yeah, the offensive line.
He's never had an offensive line as piss poor and shitty as this one.
But he's
not even in his days at Arizona, Pete. This line sucks.
But with the offensive line, there have been injuries in the past on this team, and they've still been able to put up points. Again, to me, it is the mindset of this coaching staff when they come out and say they don't believe in the greatest of all time because they feel like he's going to throw an interception. That is a problem for me.
That's a problem. Yeah, but
you have 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and your offense, you're telling me that your offense can't get 2 or 3 yards on 2 possessions. If you get one of those first downs and you kick a field goal or you at least get points from that possession, we're not talking about this team faltering in overtime.
Yeah, but we're trying to put the blame on one person. Okay?
No, I'm not putting the blame on one person. I'm not telling you it's just all coaching.
Listen,
but I'm telling you it's the majority.
I look at the game much different than 99.9% of the people that are out there. I look at it from a handicapper's perspective. I am telling you now, I'm 56 years old, and I've been gambling the vast majority of my life on football, okay? And for the past 20 years, I've watched a lot of tape. This offensive line has so many holes in it, Swiss cheese would be jealous. That's how bad it is. You want to win? You take a bad offensive line with Tom Brady and you run the football and make defenses appreciate that run and respect it. Then they're going to open it up down the middle. Look, man, there is not – everybody can blame and they can point a finger and say Todd Bowles said he didn't want him to throw an interception. Hogwash. I get it.
How is it hogwash?
He said some stupid
the
stuff.
worst thing you could say as a coach about your quarterback in offense.
You know what? I've seen worse shit said about other people. I remember Mike Ditka grabbing Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines and just yanking his helmet off of him on Monday Night Football.
Right now, Jim Harbaugh to Tom Brady. You get Tom Brady for that purpose, Harry, in the first place to come back in the fourth quarter. That's the reason why you get him. He's the most clutch quarterback of all time. Your coach is coming out and saying,
so that's why they're below 500 because of a comment?
They lost that.
Horseshit. Stop.
They lost that game on Sunday versus the Browns because their coach didn't have confidence in their offense.
They lost confidence in that team because you didn't run the football.
Well, he's not going to run the football because you can't run the football because you can't have offensive linemen that can create those holes. They haven't been able to do it all year long. It comes back to the play calling. You're running the ball mostly every first down. You can throw all the statistics out there, but it's not working for you. The conversion rate on first down is the lowest in the league. It's not working. That's why teams don't care about the run game. If they come out and go pass play action and have somewhat of some success.
And then you go 3 and out, and now your defense is out there doing this.
Wait a minute. Hold on. If you go pass play action, which, by the way, Brady is very successful with. Look at the statistics.
But they don't respect it, Pete.
If you do it on first down, they're not going to be expecting it because they expect the Bucs to come out on first down and run the ball. That's the point.
And who's he throwing the ball to? The tight ends that still can't catch?
Damn,
a running back and Leonard Fournette that couldn't catch a cold?
He's got Mike Evans. He's got Chris Godwin. He's got Kate Otten. He's got Leonard.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's got Julio Jones.
That's why Chris Godwin caught 12 passes last week because he had single coverage 90% of the game.
Okay.
You want to go play action to Mike Evans? I'm sorry. I don't care what Brady or anybody else in the coaching staff is telling you. I'm watching this film, and I'm watching double and triple coverage literally every single play of Mike Evans. You have to be a fool to throw it to Mike Evans in triple coverage.
You can't double cover everybody. It's not just to Mike Evans. It's also to Chris Godwin. If you double covered Mike Evans, then you go to Godwin. If you double,
that's what I was saying. They just went to Godwin. You just said my point. That's why he did that.
I never made the point. My point was you go pass play action no matter who the wide receiver you run it to, no matter who you throw it to, go pass play action. This team has not done it, and it doesn't make any sense.
And let me explain why. Because he has less than 2 seconds to be able to read, react, and go through his progressions.
So
let's
run the ball 50 freaking times a game. That's going to
work. And they'd win.
They don't win.
They would. They would.
They won't because people will start catching up on it, which they have. They've shut down the running game. You have to have a mix. It's play calling. It's coaching. That's the majority of it. I get it. It's the offensive line. Absolutely. Are you missing Ali Marpet? Yes. Are you missing Ryan Jensen? Yes. But this is the National Football League. You've got to step up. Next man up. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's great points. But I want to see them
from both sides. They're very good points. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing with my own 2 eyes, Peter. Okay. And what I'm seeing is a very porous offensive line. You want to hold defenses off? You're gonna have to run the football, especially with this line, because this weekend you're playing the New Orleans Saints, who, by the way, has your number.
Correct.
Okay, and who can play a lot of defense. And they are salivating, thinking that you're going to throw the ball 45 times. Let me tell you something, Pete. I've never seen such a chicken shit team in my entire life when it comes to wanting to pass the football because they're down by 7 points. They think the world, you know what? That's bad coaching. And that was Bruce Arians who put that into this
chicken spit because their coach
came
out and said, basically, I don't have faith in my offense. I don't have faith in my quarterback to throw the ball. They went into overtime. They ran the ball, which didn't make any sense. Okay, then you call a timeout. You throw the ball down the field, and then you don't call a timeout. It makes his explanation makes no sense at all.
Look, I'm not I'm not trying to say that I want this team to run the ball 50 times in the game, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, that would mean you have no quarterback. What do you even have TB12 back there for all you care?
Right.
Put Blaine Gabbert behind there to run it 50 times.
Exactly. We're not talking about Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask.
I know that.
Here. Okay, so why do I have a coach trying to sell me on the idea that he is depending so much on his defense, not calling timeouts and not depending on his offense? Basically, you told the whole room that offensive side of the ball, guess what? You suck. And that is not confidence. That's not momentum. That's not motivating anybody. That's not motivating anybody. I'm sorry.
I can name 25 teams in the National Football League that have quarterbacks with less ratings than what Tom Brady has, and he's having an off year.
You're making my point for me. Why would
it's not that I'm making that point, but
that ball in his hands.
But hold on. In this particular game coming up, you better run the football 30 to 35 times.
You have to run the ball because you got Tristan Wirfs out. Let's go out to the comments. Good debate as always, my friend. That's why he's my co-host, Harry the Greek.
That's what we do.
Capper extraordinaire here on the Sports Web. Let's see here. Good comments.
If you hate me, I love it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm kidding.
Been watching some games when Leftwich was with the Cards. It's the same result with the Bucs now. BA was the difference. Scott says the Greek must be a bad cook to have the kitchen to himself. He's not a bad cook. He's
actually horrible, man. Horrible cook. Don't tell anybody I like to cook.
Especially spaghetti. That man knows how to cook some spaghetti, especially on Sundays. That's why I go to his house usually. Jordan now worries me a lot with Wirfs out. Absolutely, because Wirfs done a great job, a phenomenal job, starting off his rookie year in 2020 when he shut down Cam Jordan. Where's OBJ going? Where do you think OBJ is going?
I don't know if he's gotten off the plane yet.
Well, I'll tell you right now. I mean, does that scare away teams? I mean, the guy is talking about drinking and being unconscious. Put on your damn seatbelt. You know, OBJ to me has always been a boat dope. And I'll tell you why he is. Because he's a boat dope. I tell you why he's a boat dope. Because when the Giants were in the playoffs, him and his crew decided to go down to Miami on a boat.
I remember that.
Like they were cutting a Jodeci friggin' video instead of worried about the Green Bay Packers. And guess what? They absolutely sucked. So you can say whatever you want to about OBJ and how talented he is, but the problem with signing him is the off-the-field stuff. Go.
Hurry up and go to Dallas, okay? Trust me, you'd fit right into that organization. Just like I told everybody back in the 90s, they used to have two planes to do their away games. One was for the players, and the other plane was to carry the parole officers. Look, man, you're going to fit really well there. You don't want to go to Tampa. Please stay away from the New York Giants. Just go right to Dallas and completely ruin that team.
There you go. Exactly. I agree with you there. Jerry Jones was on an interview today, and it seemed like he was choking. I don't know what was going on. He even said on the call he needed oxygen, it sounded like. I don't know what the heck was going on. Alec, how you doing, buddy? All right. Dave says, of course, TB is going to run the ball, or Tampa Bay is going to run the ball on first.
Excuse me, just 1 second.
Just like every other game.
Andrew, if you're listening, go ahead and call into the phone lines. It's right there at the bottom. I want to hear what you're going to talk about.
Yeah,
because obviously, you know, because I don't know if he's set up or not. I would send him the link. I'd love to have my boy come on, but give us a call. Nobody else call. Andrew, get on the phone and call in.
Yeah, everybody call in. Let's see here. Davenport is also a worry. Black Crow Volume 2. Donovan Smith sucks. Andrew Davis says Andrew Thomas doesn't need help. He has a different left guard every week, it seems. Didn't allow a single sack until Thanksgiving when he was sick. And look, he had a slow start, but first round pick out of Georgia. Lots of potential, very raw, but he started to come of age here. Let's go out to Mr. Andrew Davis of Two Giant Goofballs. Talk about it here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
He's only one giant goofball.
Well, he's
got the Pete, the Greek, and a goofball.
That's it, a goofball here. Andrew, welcome to the Evolution.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, buddy.
Hey, Drew.
Hey. So let me give you the full rundown of the whole OBJ situation.
Okay.
It's nowhere near what they're making it seem like in the media.
Okay.
So his flight was delayed by about half an hour. He fell asleep on the plane, and then he said some basically overzealous or over anxious flight attendant basically said that he refused to put on a seatbelt. Meanwhile, he was sleeping when they kept telling the crew, the people on the plane to do it. So then they said they escorted him off. The whole medical thing, according to his people, is all fake. And I can tell you what's interesting about this is they took him off the plane with no handcuffs whatsoever, no restraints of any kind. There was no one touching him even. He went on his own accord off the plane. They sent him to a non-secured area afterwards, and they let him find other transportation after the fact. If he had done anything wrong, he would be in cuffs, because that's FAA restrictions now you're talking. They don't mess around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Flying again.
I still think it's a bad look. You know, if you're trying to get signed to a team,
right? Be out of the news.
Correct, exactly, and it kind of worries me. Does he have a problem? He's semi-unconscious. He's not putting on a seatbelt. I mean, I've seen the TikTok video. You know, he's trying to sneak in alcohol. I mean, it's not a good look. It's not a good look if you're signing with the team. I guess that there's a team out there that wouldn't care about the off-the-field stuff. It's definitely going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I'm hoping he's healthy. I think he could definitely make an impact. But the problem with OBJ, and you can agree with this, Andrew, and it's always followed him, whether it was with the Giants or with the Rams, there's big-time question marks with him, is even the Browns, the off-the-field stuff has always been a deterrent for him.
Yeah, to a degree, but at the same point, he also is good at keeping his name in the media, which keeps him a big name. Let me ask you. Well, I mean,
is that important? Is that the most important thing at the end of the day, or is it that you're a wide receiver that's productive and it's going to help your team out? Let me ask you something. You're a Giants fan. Yeah. What did you think about him going off with all the wide receivers on a boat, looking like he's cutting a Jodeci music video? I mean, ridiculous.
I don't know if Andrew knows who Jodeci is.
Well, you know, I'm aging myself, but kids go on YouTube.
Who?
He's got his jeans on. He's got his Timbs on.
Did he do a song with Michael Jackson or
no? Not
oh, here we go.
No song with Michael Jackson, but it was him and all his wide receiver cohorts who absolutely did nothing against the Green Bay Packer defense, which at the time the Packer defense is not that good. He went out in a boat in Miami and embarrassed himself. And they embarrassed himself. It was embarrassing.
Here's the thing with OBJ, and here you and I had talked this before. I'm not an OBJ fan overall. I think he's not the right personality fit for this kind of team, for my Giants team. I think even in Dallas he'd be an issue because he wants to be a star. But let me ask you this at the same point: what basically 30-year-old wide receiver coming off 2 back-to-back ACL injuries,
same knee,
that can create the hype that this man has created?
It's true. I mean, the impact.
He's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid, and he wants somewhat of a long-term extension from a team, whether the Cowboys, whether it's Kansas City, whether it's the Giants. You hear
hurry up and go to Dallas.
I mean, do you
think
he's
not going to Dallas, Harry? I'm telling you.
Where's he going?
Giants.
He's playing Dallas because he wants to get Dallas in the mix, because that's the way to get the price up, get more people involved, and you get Dallas.
That's a great point, man.
Media much more involved.
Yeah,
that's all he's doing.
Where's he going, Drew?
Where's he going, Drew?
In my personal opinion,
I think he's going to Clearwater Mall.
Shut up and be quiet.
Huh?
Yeah.
So I think he should go to Buffalo. He can be the number 2 they need.
Okay.
Wow.
He can not have to worry about going against CB1s. And he has a chance to keep on going. Because keep in mind, he's coming this late in the year. Buffalo's going to have a deep run in the playoffs if everything goes as it should.
Well, it's certainly been talked about with Von Miller being one of his friends. Of course,
Did they have the money and the cap space to do that?
That's another great question. It doesn't
matter, keep in mind, because you only have to pay him for a very small percentage of the season. And if you get him a second year, you can move some of that money to year 2.
How effective do you think someone like OBJ would be coming this late into the season? He can't be in really good football shape right now, and he's not battle tested, and he hasn't even taken a shot with his knee. I mean,
the man is a physical specimen, though. The thing is that my whole concern I have is how does he fit into the team overall because of the personality he is.
That's it.
So, like I said to you before, everybody makes a big deal about how great he was with the Rams, but people forget it. In half the season, he had 350 yards. He didn't have that great of a year. He just had 5 touchdowns in that half the season, which is an amazing number for that time frame.
It's true, and he was definitely effective in the postseason. Good stuff, Andrew. What else?
That was.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens there. But you saw what I said about Thomas, right? Just had to throw the Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, no. I mean, Andrews definitely improved his game. When he first came out, I know there's a lot of Giant fans out there wishing they probably drafted a Tristan Wirfs, but he's definitely kind of lived up to that billing and gotten better and better. So, Andrew, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. Let me go ahead and give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Definitely don't be a stranger here on the Evolution.
Hey, give him the Byron Leftwich, okay?
How about them Bucs, baby?
All right, good stuff, Andrew. Appreciate you, buddy. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I still think, the whole recruiting effort from Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, he loves to be loved, and he's being loved right now by Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I thought he would head to the Bucs, but it certainly seems like he wants a long-term deal, 2 or 3 year deal. I think the Cowboys would give him that. The main question is, how much cap, how much money did they have? Knowing Jerry Jones, he's willing to pay it. So we'll see what happens. Give to the effort here. Facebook stars are out there. Of course, YouTube chats are open. Let's go back out to these comments.
Hold on. Are you a Blackhawks fan?
I'm not. I'm a Lightning fan. But why? What's going on?
You are tonight, though.
Okay. Yes. Why? What's going on?
I'm just letting you know. You are a Blackhawk fan tonight, Peter.
I'm a Blackhawk fan tonight. Okay,
yes,
well,
you
probably went to wager.lv. You shut up and be quiet. Promo code SportsWeb.
You are a Blackhawk fan tonight, Peter. Trust me when I tell you.
Okay.
You'll be a very happy camper if they win for you tonight. They're big underdogs.
Definitely would be a happy camper, that's for sure. All right, so how do you think Shaq Mason is doing? I mean, I think he's probably the most consistent player on this team, and it was I cannot still believe that Jason Light was able to get him for a 4th round pick. I mean, he's still an offensive lineman that is good in this league. I'll tell you what, let's go out to Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. Welcome to the Evolution Yard with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go.
And how you doing, Ben?
Hey, Harry. Hey, Peter. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, buddy. Doing great.
Fantastic. We're just having a kumbaya here, and Peter and I are getting ready to hug and kiss, That's
it. That's what we're doing. And after that, we'll talk wrestling. So.
Wow.
Will you shut up and be quiet?
Shut up! That's a perfect
wrestling.
Segue. You go.
Yes, wrestling afterwards.
And it's a wrestling.
Yeah.
What a segue that is.
Well, professional wrestling here, goopball. So what do you have to talk about?
No, we're gonna Mazzola Rolla wrestle.
Oh my God!
Anybody ever see Mazzola Rolla wrestling?
How about you?
That's when we take a 50 by 50 plastic tarp. We take a 55 by 50 plastic tarp and we just cover ourselves in Mazzola corn oil and we just start to grapple.
Yeah, we're not doing that old school.
Okay.
How about you?
All right,
You're such a hater, Pete.
Can I warn you real quick?
Yes.
There's a troller named Jason Swade.
Yes.
He's on my show. I'd be careful how you say stuff.
Well, that's true.
That's okay. Hi, Jay.
We love our fans at the end of the day. So, he's trolling. It's probably Troy Polamalu. That's probably
it. Isn't. I like Jason Swade. He brings out all kinds of good information, especially when he's hitting on Peter.
Shut up. Jason Bourne. Might as well call him Jason Bourne. Jason Swade. Jeez. All right. So I got some crazy people on here. Ben, what else do you want to talk about tonight, bud?
It just feels good to laugh. I mean, after this past week, we could all use the laughter. This is just, I don't know. I just can't explain why this team is. I know, I got a feeling why, but it's just one of those things where there's so much expectation.
Yep.
And then you see this team not playing up to the level that they can.
Right.
And it's disappointing.
It is.
It really is.
Absolutely disappointing. It is. And for me, again, it's not just on the offensive line because Harry's put that out there. It's not just on the players. It's on coaching and it's on the mindset. And for me, when your coach tells you that basically I don't have enough confidence in the best, in the greatest clutch quarterback of all time to take me down the field when he's done it over and over again. In fact,
here we go.
Weeks ago against the Rams, as you forgot, Todd Bowles, that's a problem for me. Is that a problem for you?
Yeah, because again, I made the comment the other night. I think it was something to the effect of some coaches can coach some coordinators can coach an NFL team. Some coordinators are just coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Todd Bowles, I think. He's just a coordinator. Now, he's a great coordinator, great defensive coordinator. He just doesn't have that. I don't know. I don't think he has that respect from certain players.
He doesn't have that fire
Tom Brady.
like BA, right? He doesn't have that fire. He's not yelling and screaming on the sidelines. He's kind of in the same mold as Tony Dungy. And I love Dungy. Again, I've interviewed him plenty of times. Great coach, and I know this for a fact. He can definitely get on players, but he wouldn't do it publicly. He would do it in the locker room. So we may not.
Lovie Smith was the same exact way.
Right, and I
mean, let me give you Lovie to a T. You ready?
Sure, give it to me.
The Bears are going to the Super Bowl. You ready? The Bears are going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm not kidding you. I watched it.
Right, and you know what? We wouldn't even pay attention to his personality traits if the Bucs were winning. We would just say
that was more emotion than Tony Dungy showed.
Well, that's it. I mean, and it would always be with Dungy, we're not executing, and there's a lot of people out there that still say we're not executing. So, execution, whatever, I'm in favor of it because this offense.
I'm in favor. I like to take the whole offensive line and execute them all.
Well, Shaq Mason has been good. Tristan Wirfs has been good when he could stay healthy. Donovan Smith, not so much. Luke Gedeke, the rookie. Nick Leverett's played better. Nick Leverett should have been the starter from the very beginning. You shouldn't be starting a rookie.
I agree with you on that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Well, Peter, I mean, you don't have to yell to be a great coach. Look at Mike Tomlin.
Sure.
He doesn't yell a lot. He commands respect. I don't think Todd Bowles is at that point where he commands respect. That's the key, I think, right now. And I just, for Tom Brady, you've got to get that respect out of him.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And yeah.
Good luck.
That's what Bruce did. Yeah, you're right, Harry. Good luck, because Bruce did. They may not always liked each other, but they got.
Let me see how much respect you got. Hold on. I don't have a job on the sidelines. That's how much respect you got. He got Michael Jordan. Okay, Ben?
Well, I mean, again, we don't know. We're not privy. We're not privy to that information, but it certainly seems like there was something to it. And I'll just say this again: I feel like Tom Brady excels when he has some type of friction. And a lot of people are talking about him going back to New England and Bill Belichick. I mean, when you hear this, Ben, are you worried about him going to New England next year?
Hurry up, run.
Going to? Will you shut up?
Go up and play in that snow.
Will you be quiet? Are you worried about him going back to San Francisco or possibly the Raiders with Josh McDaniels, which, by the way, I don't know why he still has a coaching job, although they beat Seattle.
Or how about maybe Green Bay, because now that Aaron Rodgers supposedly is leaving. Hang on. I think there's 30 other teams we forgot to mention.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you're not mentioning.
We never said New Orleans because the crab leg thief is not playing well, okay? And you got the Red Rifle over there.
Right.
Houston might be looking for a quarterback now, and they got a ton of cap space.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Houston.
Hold on. You got Carolina, Atlanta. Wait a minute. The Miami Dolphins. Here's a team that's already set up.
Tua is the quarterback. He's not going to Miami.
Wait a minute.
I don't think he's going. Listen, I don't think he's going back to New England because he said this in his comments. He does not like playing in the cold.
No, he doesn't.
So I don't see it.
So that's why Miami sounds good.
Jim, go with Lovie Smith. Let's see. You think Todd Bowles is fun? Wait till he hangs out with Lovie Smith.
Oh, geez.
You can get the respect out of it.
I tell you, night on town with those guys, man. Exciting.
I've actually been out with one of them.
Oh, yeah? And how was that for you? Was it exciting?
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Hang on. You ready? Ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Right. Exactly. He had to drink a couple. He had to drink a couple in order to get excited. I like Lovie.
Let me tell you something. I love Lovie, and I'll tell you what. Every time I called him Coach, it's Lovie. Coach, I Lovie. Okay, sorry, man. All right, sorry, Coach. Lovie.
Now, don't do that to Deion Sanders. Don't call him Deion or Primetime. You better call him Coach Sanders, because you saw a journalist try to pull that stuff, and he basically called him out. He said, look, Nick Saban, you call him Coach Saban. You don't call him Coach Nick. You don't call him Nick. You call him Coach Saban. That's how Deion is. But Lovie is Lovie.
Me? I'd accidentally call him Colonel Sanders.
Oh, Jesus. All right, Ben. What else?
Oh no, I was just going to answer your question real quick.
Okay.
Am I worried that he's going to go to New England?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I'm not really worried about anything anymore. Listen, Peter, we've won 2 Super Bowls for this franchise.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Even won 1. Yeah. We're playing with house money. That's how I look at it these days. Like,
I love the gambling analogy.
Well, I mean, it's taking
thank you.
effect on this show. I mean, we got Harry the Greek here, professional handicapper extraordinaire. But you're absolutely, you've been playing with house money at the end of the day, and you had to know whether it's going to be this year, next year, or a couple years. That rebuild is right around the corner. Now, I hope it's not, but salary cap is salary cap. We seem like we're talking about it every year when it comes to the Saints, and they're able to overcome it. And I think the Bucs are able to overcome it, but there are limitations to it. And we'll see how that works out. I was reading something today on ESPN Plus because I have a subscription, and they actually said that Brady, if he is not signed, it's a $35 million cap hit. So maybe the Bucs re-sign him because he's actually signed until 2026. So if he becomes a free agent, they let him go. I think it's a $35 million cap hit. That's what Dan Graziano was trying to say from ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see that story, but I'll read it later on.
Well, there you go. That's why I got that subscription right there. But, that's interesting information. But he's actually signed until 2026. So let's see. When was the last time Lovie Smith got a shave since he left Chicago? Says, I think Mark Mancini writing me.
That beard.
It's glorious.
It's like pristine.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Pristine.
he looks like Santa Claus. Yes, he does. He looks like
you were catching up to him there for a while.
Well, I was, and I may grow back. I'll tell you right. Well, look, I look back at the previous videos when it's really long. I'm like, oh my God, it looked like Duck Dynasty. I need to shave that stuff.
You look like something from dude. It was getting so white. I was getting the banjos going. Ding ding.
I was getting extra on the remake of Deliverance because Hollywood remakes everything and turns it into. All right, so
that reminds me.
Yes, what's
up?
I
gotta do it.
What's up?
No, nothing.
What's up?
Nothing.
All right, Ben. I know we're going to be talking wrestling here in a little bit. What do you think about what's going on right now in wrestling overall? WWE, War Games, and AEW. Sorry, Harry.
Oh,
awesome, man.
Yeah,
I'll definitely listen.
All right,
listen to you guys, man.
All right, Ben. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. Definitely call back when we have that wrestling segment. Okay, my friend.
Sounds good, man. Hey, Harry.
All right.
Take care of yourself, Ben. Thanks for calling in tonight. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Giving the Ric Flair right there. Let's go out to Ed. Ed, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Did I just hear you say that Tom Brady is actually signed with the Buccaneers next year?
Well, according to this report, he is signed until 2026. Now, if they decide to let him go, and I guess there's a clause in his contract where he can become a free agent, it would be a $35 million cap hit. So keep that in mind because they did kick those years down the road.
You can't take a $35 million cap hit, especially when you're under the cap or you're under the cap.
If Tom Brady says he wants to leave, this team is taking a $35 million cap hit.
Or they're going to trade him.
How?
They're gonna,
Correct. They'll trade him. I mean, they'll do whatever the man wants. You're talking about the GOAT.
I mean, assume that he's not.
Why do people think he's why do you think this organization's impervious to what he wants? I mean, he's already had a head coach fired.
Well, see, and this is what I was laughing at during the season, during the off season when it was reported that he wanted to go to Miami. BA basically was talking to Brady, saying, "Hey, we want 5 first-round picks." The Bucs are not going to allow him to go to Miami, not allow him to go here and go there for nothing, just because he's Tom Brady. He's under contract. That's how it works.
That's how it works. You're right.
And here's the thing that people don't look at and continue to gloss over. If he would have signed with the Miami Dolphins as a partner, if you will, and an owner, and tried to pull some stuff where he came out of retirement and was a quarterback, he would have actually had to get a vote for the majority of the NFL owners. And let me tell you something, Ed and Harry, they're not going to allow him to come back and play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, especially Bill Belichick in that division or the Buffalo Bills. So enough with that nonsense. Now go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I think the odds of him being here next year just go way up with him being under contract. Unfortunately, I know you don't agree with that, Greek, but
no, I do.
want to take a $35 million cap. No
I'm
team
just
wants
saying, trust me, I don't think money is going to interfere with whatever Tom Brady wants to do. If he wants
to.
out,
I'm gonna tell you right
they'll
now,
have to get rid of him.
they better get some major compensation for that.
Exactly.
Major.
For a 45-year-old quarterback or 46.
Yes.
I don't really care.
Yes, you can
They
get
better
major absolutely get major.
They'll get compensation. I'd have to agree with that. They would get compensation, but major? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, how many more years do you think the guy's going to play? Till he's 50?
Well, I mean, he may. He's
Probably.
divorced.
Stop
now.
it, Peter.
I mean, he signed until 2020.
Stop it. Listen, man, there's two things he doesn't have in his life anymore. He's not eating avocado toast no more, and his wife ain't putting up the witch's brew, okay?
Bro, I don't care about the witch's brew. I don't care about hocus pocus or, the wicked witch of the west or the east or the south or whatever else. If the guy wants to play football, he's going to freaking play football. And he's shown that.
I got to ask the Greek something.
What?
Yeah.
You like Tom Brady?
Yes, of course he likes Tom Brady.
Do I like Tom Brady?
Tom
Why
Brady?
are you trying to retire him?
Because the man gave up. You know what? That's kind of personal, man. You're almost asking me,
Okay,
do I like Tom Brady? I love Tom Brady.
I don't think he gave up his.
I had dreams about Tom Brady last night.
Oh,
And I slept at a Holiday Inn Express.
Shut up!
Really spewing the nonsense tonight there, co-host Greek. All right, Ed. Thanks a lot for being an instigator. What else you want to talk about?
Hey,
a lot
Ed.
of people are not talking about Mike Evans because he didn't.
Is this Jake from State Farm? What are you wearing, Jake?
Will you shut up, Harry? Yes, the connection with Mike
and
Evans.
it wasn't
and
not
Brady.
there last week, but a lot of people forget he was playing with an injury.
Yes, he is playing with some ribs. Well, and going
that
back
shit
to
hurts.
well, it does. It definitely hurts. It's not necessarily a walk in the park. That's for sure.
No.
So we don't.
I got a question for Ed.
It's balls, but when you have to jump up to catch a ball, and you got sore ribs, you really think about it.
That's
so
good.
Ed, if you had to pick, I mean, because I could list a dozen things, but if you could just pick two things that are hampering this team, what are they?
Oh, well, you're right about the offensive line. It sucks. But what are you going to do?
Actually, that was kind of cathartic for me. Say that again.
Oh, geez. You pat yourself more on the back than anybody I know.
What's the other thing that you think is hampering this team?
Yes.
Play calling.
There you go. Play calling and coaching. Play calling and coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a bad mix at the end of the day. How confident do you feel with them playing the Saints on Monday night? You feel confident even
I don't think they're going to win.
Wow.
I honestly don't think they're going to win.
Wow.
The Saints have a lot to play for. They're not out of it either. And if Christian Wirtz was going to be playing,
yes,
I would say the Bucs would have a better chance. But without him, I just think Tom is going to be running for his life all night long.
Well, I mean, again, I think it goes back to what my co-host said. They're going to have to be balanced on Monday night.
Yeah, but they're not going to balance.
Here's one thing that Ed just said. It was funny. Did you say he's going to be running?
He's not going to be running for his life. He's going to be going down in the fetal position like he does every time he's going to get sacked.
That's actually a really good comment.
I'll bring you a little bit of a compliment, okay?
Okay. All right. All right. It's
bro,
you, Greg.
It's like Lamar's out there, bro, with Tom Brady. Only when he's playing against the Bears.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Let me tell you something. That play, it still is etched in my mind.
What's up?
They were around midfield. It was 3rd down and long, and Brady drops back to pass. And the Bears are covering in a 2-deep zone, and all of a sudden he's got one person watching him. It's Tom Brady. It's an open field. It's Brian Urlacher. Tom Brady scoots through the line. He fakes the handoff. He fakes the pass. He's starting to run forward, and here comes Urlacher. He is going to put a lick on him. Brady stopped in his shoes, cut right, spun, and Urlacher tackled nothing but air.
I don't remember that.
I mean, I do. It was an ankle breaker. It's a highlight reel.
Nice. Very nice. Good memory there. I like that. I like that a lot. All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So you think the Bucs are going to lose on Monday?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they are. The Saints are gonna put the final straw on our season.
Really, the Saints.
Monday night.
Okay. All right.
Hey, you know what, Peter? I'm like you. I hate the Saints. It pains me to say this, but dude, Cam Jordan is a beast. He's a beast.
He is a beast.
And
he's definitely a beast. We'll
If
see.
he's playing, oh boy.
Right.
He has had our number.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably salivate at the fact that he's got no tackles to worry about.
All right, Ed. What else?
I think that the Greek is proving more and more every week that he's a Tom Brady hater.
Okay.
I am not a Tom Brady hater.
I don't think I don't think he's a Tom Brady hater.
I'm just a Giselle lover.
Well, my God,
Dude,
he's
man.
trying to be realistic about it, but who knows if Tom Brady? Listen, who knows when Tom Brady's going to come back? Let the man play as long as he wants to. If he wants to play until he's 70 freaking years old and he's still throwing 30, 40 touchdowns, let him play out there. Get him a freaking walker. Get him Social Security. Get him anything he wants to. Get him a
help. I'm falling and I can't get up.
Right now, he'd be a lot better in an open field than Jalen Darden, that's for sure. Now, Ed, finish up here and I'll get you out of here.
Okay, man. You know, back to him being back next year. If they don't bring him back next year, the Bucs are going to have to play Kyle Trash, and it's not going to be.
Did you say
pretty.
Kyle Trash? Did you say?
Yes, he did.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we see how much you think of. I haven't seen the kid, so I don't know. You've seen him in preseason. He doesn't have a body of work. Am I ready to switch the controls over to Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask? No. If Brady wants to play until 2026 when he's 49 years old, let him. Make it happen. Make it happen.
I totally agree with you, Pete.
Thank you.
Totally agree with you on that.
All right. Good stuff. On that note, we'll just leave it there. Use your second call if you want to. Ed from Palm Harbor, thanks a lot for the call. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I'm going to read these comments on the private chat because we got the guys in there, the Madman Mark Mancini, former XPW.
Is that my boy Mark Mancini?
It is. Tell those listeners, here come the Redskins. Acknowledge us. Let me tell you, you have been a guy that has been on this. Yes, you have said that not the Redskins, the Commanders are the scariest team in the NFC East. Why do you think this?
Me?
Yes,
I have no idea.
You have said that this is one of the hottest teams, and they're a hot team in the National Football League.
I'm kidding, man. I love Washington right now. They are playing really, really good football. Do I think they're going to the Super Bowl? No, but they are going to make a lot of noise in the East this year.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to say there, dumbass. Thanks a lot.
Dumbass.
Yeah, I said that. Dumbass. All right, love the show, says Mark. Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, all hype trains. USC, baby Lincoln Riley, riverboat gambler. We talk about college football. You aren't the biggest Michigan fan. I know this because somebody in my family has a bone to pick with you. I
love Michigan.
And yeah, you love Michigan starting up. Sure. I mean, you have Georgia, Michigan, TCU.
Just annoying that Georgia's going to win the national champion and they're going to play Michigan and win by 30. It's just simple.
Wow. I still think Michigan has an opportunity with that quarterback, but maybe I'm wrong about it. I still think it's Michigan and Georgia with the rematch.
Listen, I think Michigan's going to is playing really, really well this year. They're very inspired, but unfortunately, it's just the new Alabama's Georgia. It really is. That's the new Alabama. Look, man, I'm sorry, Tiny 10. Listen to me and listen to me really well because we know people from the Midwest listen to this. You're not the SEC. You're not the ACC in the South. You're not. Look, man, it's really difficult to compete, with us down here because that's just you play football 24/7, 365. I mean, that's just the way it is. But Michigan, yes, they have impressed us, including that guy up there, Coach Harbaugh.
All right, really quick here, and I know I got to get you out of here. Thanks a lot for your time, co-host. Devin White and inside linebacker Levante David spoke about the defense. They actually went out to Eddie V's Prime Seafood in Tampa on Monday night to air some of their grievances. Devin White had this to say: me and Levante organized this just to bring the guys closer, just to be able to lean on one another and trust one another. Just talked about tenacity. We got to play with, everything that we got to do to help this team win, because at the end of the day, we got a great defense and we want to show it for 4 quarters in 60 minutes. He also goes on to say, we used to be so much closer because it was COVID-19 year, because obviously we couldn't go nowhere. Yeah. We had to sit at the facility. We had to eat here. Like everything we did was together. And once COVID kind of played out, we kind of got away from that. So it was just me and Levante just try to bring the guys back together. just to let it gel a little bit more. So we'll play even harder for each other. He also goes on to say, we can say anything to each other and we know it's all constructive. This is actually Levante David. We're supposed to be the best 2 linebackers playing in the game, so we have to be able to speak from the heart, and he can do the same with me. Your thoughts on this? Maybe this turns the defense around. They get a little bit closer. They talked about it. Get a little closer, and they weren't closer. Besides COVID, yes, I just did a commercial there that you didn't pick up on. But does this make the defense a little bit closer? Does this kind of galvanize that defense to play better?
I know it definitely made someone's pocket a lot less, especially if you had 700 pounds of beef there between Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea eating steaks and lobster. My God. I mean, that had to be a hell of a bill.
Well,
no, but on a serious,
who was the guy that picked it up? I mean, was it the rookie Logan Hall? Because, that's usually a rite of passage. I mean, over under on that. Logan Hall picking up the bill there?
Not for those 2 guys, man. They spent his whole game check. What are you kidding me? His game check was gone. I mean, it was gone. I mean, seriously, can you imagine having to feed Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea? No, seriously.
Well, I tell you right now, Akeem
Hicks could eat 6 rotisserie chickens and go,
oh, yeah.
Can I get some fries?
Well, I tell you right now, Akeem Hicks is a big-time story on Monday night because he's a former New Orleans Saint, and he's always given the Saints all kinds of problems, and that's exactly what he's going to have to be on Monday night to shut down an Alvin Kamara. But seriously, do you think this brings the defense together?
Yeah,
is this
it does.
A good thing? Okay.
It does. Anytime you have camaraderie, it's always really good because you can get to air your grievances a little bit. And I'll tell you what, it's either going to help or it's going to make it worse because there's people, because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I don't really honestly think the problem's on defense with the continuity. I think the continuity is more so on the offensive side of the football. I don't think there's really anything wrong with the defense other than the fact that the offense isn't producing.
Yeah, I definitely.
When the offense, let me tell you something. When this Tampa team is up by 10 and 12 and even 14 points, which is very far and few to become by, I can't remember the last time they were. And I'm not trying to be a smartass when I say that, but that defense, when they know you become one-dimensional, that's when it becomes super dangerous. But you could say that about every defense in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Even your bad ones, when they know you have to be one-dimensional and you only have to cover one thing, which is going to be the pass, and you don't respect the other part of their offense, you're going to play a lot better. There's very few defenses that can protect both. I'm not ready to throw the towel in and say this defense is, overrated or, they're not. I don't think that they're not playing up to their capabilities. I think they could do a little bit of a better job. But to answer your question, I think it does help because it does bring continuity.
Yeah, I think it brings continuity. I think the disappointing thing is you're giving up 100-yard games to, rushers. That's not the staple of this defense, although it doesn't help, once again, to have those 9 3-and-outs. It doesn't happen. It doesn't help.
Maybe Tom Brady needs to get off his wallet and take out that offensive line. I mean, Dan Marino, every year for Christmas, he got his offensive line isotoner gloves, remember?
Yeah, well, were they from OJ by chance?
No. Do you remember the isotoner gloves?
Yes, of course I do.
Of course he does, because he says, and I even get my offensive lineman isotoner gloves. No, man, seriously, take your team out for dinner. You want to do something? It's not the defensive side of it. Maybe
I'll tell you right now, the way the offensive line's playing, they're lucky they're eating McDonald's at this point. I'm loving it. I mean, and you can go and take them to Burger King because they can have it their way. But right now, there is no way unless you're protecting Brady and keeping him upright. And that's exactly what this offensive line hasn't been able to do. I mean, the sacks, but the pressure is still getting to Brady, and that's going to have to change on Monday night. Let's go ahead and read the rest of these comments, and then we'll get you out of here for the night.
Yeah, but I want to say hello to my buddies before I go.
All right, well, let's read the rest of these comments. Let's see. Donovan Smith misses Marpet. That's a good point. Great chemistry between both of those players. May have not needed OT if they perform clock management correctly.
Without question.
Thank you. Roger Shue says, bump, 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 bump. Green Bay
sucks.
Andrew says Roger is right. FJB, Malacca Pete, this is what you get for that.
Shut
Jensen is a big piece missing all season, period. Absolutely great comment. Fournette could catch a plate of mozzarella stick.
He wouldn't drop those. Just ask him before preseason. He looked like a
you
mozzarella stick.
shut up. Here he is jerseying Peter here. Laugh out loud. I agree with Peter. Bulls is dumb. I'm not believing in Brady. Roger says, Harry is schooling you, little Pete. I don't think so, buddy. How about this?
Shitter!
OBJ, plain incidents, no biggie. I can call in to give you the whole story, not the original media version. He gave it. Greg Allman passed away. Not the singer, guys. Greg Allman from Fox Sports, the writer down here. Are you serious?
He died?
Oh, my God. Not the writer, the singer they're talking about from the Allman Brothers.
Oh.
You guys are being a bunch of smart asses. Come on.
Not me. I didn't know.
Not you. If the Bucs
I mean, look at this face. Does it look like it would lie to you?
I have no idea what you just said. If the Bucs are in the top 15 in the draft, do they draft a quarterback or still develop Trask?
They're not drafting a quarterback, guys.
Depending on if Brady is back. If Brady's back, they don't draft a quarterback. I'm sorry. Just to have to say here, he's a nice-looking kitchen. All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Tell Lovey to trade Mills to Tampa Bay. This guy is getting the David Carr treatment in Texas. Nothing to work with. Agree with that?
Great comment. Let me tell you something. Davis Mills let me tell you something. Davis Mills, he'd be a hell of an addition to learn behind Tom Brady. I mean, he can make every single throw. I loved him coming out of college. And to have these weapons here, and wait a minute. If you develop an offensive line around him, yeah, he could be really beneficial to this team.
Good points. Let's see here. He was just benched because of touchdown interception ratio. But like you said, offensive line not great, not necessarily the best weapons. If Brady gets traded, it's at least for 2 2s and a 5th. Agree with that? 2 2s and a 5th. I still say number 1 pick. I'm not trading Brady for a second-round pick. I don't care if it's 2 second-round picks. I'm not doing it.
Well,
because he automatically gives your team an opportunity. Well, you own his rights.
Unfortunately, you
own his rights.
We don't have the right to say anything about it. I wasn't happy what the Bears got for Roquan Smith, okay, or Khalil Mack, okay, who by the way were in their prime. Just throwing that out there. But go ahead.
Brady. Look, he gives you the opportunity to win a Super Bowl every year. I'm sorry, that's a first-round pick. If Brady gets traded, okay. So we read that, Dave. Brady will put butts in the seats, and the team that gets him will make bank for the season. Just look at the Bucs sales the past 3 years. Good stuff.
Good point.
Evening, gents. The big
man right there, Andrew Faubert from the north of the corner.
Right there. Where are the runs off tackle counters? I mean, that up the middle. When you run off a tackle, when you're running in the outside, it certainly seems like, especially with the Rashard White, it's better that way. And they don't do enough of that. I agree with you, Christopher Cole. As always, a great comment.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Well, let's go out to Roger Shue. Greg Allman died in 2017. Greg Allman. Oh, my gosh. You guys are something else. Roger, you're an idiot. Moonwalk for us, Pete. No. How about this?
Shut up!
How about this?
I'm coming.
Oh, my God. Who
the hell cares?
Seriously, maybe Brady and Mike need to get the offensive line together and have a dinner. They are under producers. That's
you
a great comment.
Dave and I think alike.
They do. Dave is a great webhead here. Sitton says, me too. David says, Bears are going to the Super Bowl, not without tickets. Laugh out loud. And Cole has checked in here on I Love St. Pete. Let me get the guys in here really quick. Let's go out to the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, former XPW announcer. Welcome to the Evolution. And the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. We're all 4 together now. Harry, you can say hi, and then you can.
I want to make them feel at home. Hold on.
Hold on. I want to know if Harry, hold up a minute. Are you still at? Are the Winnipeg Jets still at the United Center scoring goals on the Blackhawks?
I think that stopped. Hang on. Does this make you feel more comfortable? Hold on. Is this one better? I got the Leo shot.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Please.
Hey guys, how are you? I couldn't wait to see you both. Were you kidding me?
All right. Hey, you know what, Harry? I wear this headset every week for you.
Do you? I don't usually wear a headset.
In your honor.
I appreciate it. Usually I have my camera set up. I have the same exact setup that Peter Blake has. It's just a lot of work to take it up, put it up, take it down, put it up, take it down. So this is just a little easier for me.
Georgie's going to win come on, man, Harry. Georgie ain't winning the championship. It's going through USC. The championship's at SoFi. I'm not an LA guy, but
so take a team. Take a team. Tom, I'll give you 2 teams. Just Take 2 teams, and I'll give you 5-1 on your money.
Wow, 5-1 on your money.
I had. Hey, wait a minute. In August, I had 4 teams on XM. I had Alabama, USC, Michigan, and Georgia, and I got 3 of them there sitting there. And USC's been playing playoff football the last 3 weeks. They'll be playing playoff football another 2 weeks.
USC needs to be. I'm going to say that publicly. USC needs to be in the playoffs this year.
Well, I tell you right now, if they
what about TCU now? I mean, we're going to start having the same conversation that we had about Boise State 20 years ago.
There's no conversation. They're undefeated. They played their schedule at the end of the day. If they continue to win out, and I don't think they have. Do they have any more games? But do they have a game?
I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
Everybody's done. Does. If USC loses, guys, and I got to ask you this. I'll start with you, Harry, and then we'll get you out of here on this. Does Alabama sneak in?
It would be a shame if Alabama sneaks in, and I'll tell you why. They don't deserve to be there this year. They're not the same Alabama team. The new Alabama of the country is just a state away. It's called Georgia.
Okay. What about it, Madman?
Unfortunately, it really is.
I like to see Alabama bounce in there, but you know what? I look at the NCAA like I look at the Hall of Fame in baseball. It's a prehistoric thing, and when we get this thing up to 8 to 12 teams, we're not going to have arguments. You're going to see a number 12 knock out a number 5, and then that'll be the end of this.
It would be if they go to 12, but you know what? I don't see that happening. I'm going to tell you why. Because the more games you add at the end of the year, this is where the college football gets it wrong. You know, if you have, and out of due respect, I would love to see a 12-team playoff. But it's not going to be feasible. But what happens when these young men start to get hurt? Now they've ruined their pro careers because they're playing an extra game to see who's going to be the best in college when they're not making any money. So how do we fix this?
Yeah, there's no way to fix it because it's all about money at the end of the day, right, Ralph?
Absolutely, money's everything.
I mean, how many times in the Pro Bowls, not the Pro Bowls, but the bowl games for college, that all their star players, they don't even play. Their future agents are going, you don't want to play.
You're right.
Game. I mean,
it's hard. Play last year.
It's hard enough to get these players to participate in the combine.
Well, if there's something on the line for a national championship and a playoff berth, I think you're going to see more players play. But it's a great point because you're exactly right. And that's the reason why you got to pay players in the first place. Harry, I know you got to get – go ahead, Mark.
Hey, let me tell you, is this the best weekend of NFL football other than being in Baltimore and watching Denver and Baltimore?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the best. I mean, look at it. We got 6-7 games, and the Jets could be the Road Warriors again, baby, in Minnesota.
Well, Harry, how good did we both do in Week 12? What was it, 14-2, my friend?
Shh. The gambling gods, they listen.
They listen? Okay. Okay.
No, we didn't go that strong. I had 2 losses on the week. That's what I had against the spread. And that wasn't 14-2, but I didn't bet that many games. I had 2 losses, and I think we were 7-2 total.
Well, I was 14-2
on all the picks. No, but we weren't against the spread though. That was just picking the games. It's a little easier to do, Pete.
Well,
which I don't have a problem doing that. So, are we going to talk some wrestling?
Yeah, if you want to.
Oh, you want to stay for wrestling, Harry? Wow.
Oh, I'll say no.
Come on, Harry.
Before you leave, they're wrestling in the NFC East. They are wrestling in the NFC East. 4 teams are coming out of that division.
You know what? That would be amazing if it happens. You go from the NFC least to the NFC most. I mean, seriously. And I'll tell you what, the way the Washington, who are they this year? The Commanders, the way they're playing, I mean, they're just playing inspired football. Look what they did to Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. Oh, by the way, the Greek gave everybody that game, even on the money line. It's tough, man. I'm telling you. It's that division's playing really lights out football. And dare I say, I think they're playing better football than the New York Football Giants right now. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's absolutely scary at this point. I think one of those teams at this juncture is going to most likely miss out on the playoffs because at the end of the day, you have the 3 seed, you have the 4 seed right now. The Bucs win the NFC South. They're the 4th seed, and everybody else after that, it's division winners. So one of those teams may miss out on the playoffs at the end of the day. Harry the Greek, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
You can catch me here live on the Sports Web. Whenever Pete decides to go live, he sends me the link, and I actually come on. I'm the co-host. But You can catch me on my show on 1252 Sports, Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Central Time. The name of the show is The Over Under. I'm your host, Harry the Greek, along with my co-host, Mr. Peter Blake, sitting over there. We give you the best lines to go ahead and bet on. I hope you've been betting them, because I'll tell you what, we've been on a huge heater, man. It has been on fire.
It has been on fire, absolutely.
He's on fire.
And that is him right there, Harry the Greek professional.
Ralph, my brother, you take care of yourself, Madman.
You too, man.
We love
Have
you,
a great
brother,
one.
man. We'll talk to you guys later,
I
okay?
love you guys.
All right.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
stuff there. Right there, Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Let me put you guys in the lobby. We'll reset. We'll play a commercial here, our newest spot, uwager.lv. So stand by there, gentlemen. We'll have you back here. Just stand by. We'll play a commercial. When we come back, we'll have Turnbuckle Talk on the evolution of Sports Talk Television live on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. Keep it locked.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
All right, so welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go ahead and go on to these comments really quick, and then we will get the guys back on here. I'm good if the Bucs making the playoffs with a losing record, just like when the Bucs got screwed when the Cards made it. Absolutely remember that. And Cole says, my CSB brother right there, Connecticut School of Broadcasting brother. I have 5 words about the Bucs. Thank God for Tom Brady. Far be it for me to change the subject, but is there any hope for USF Bulls to get a quality coach? Tell you what, Cole, we will get into that in a little bit. Just stand by. I got some updates on that situation from those 2 previous sources, Kevin O'Donnell from Fox 13 and, of course, J.P. Peterson of the J.P. Peterson Show. So without further ado, let's get these guys back on here right there. There we go. The madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of Mancini Media, of course, XM Sirius Radio, former XPW announcer, and the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. Gentlemen, welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. And we have to start out here with War Games. Did you guys watch? What did you think? Pretty predictable at the end of the day, of course, the bloodline. But we were talking about this, saying it would come down to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And it looked like maybe Zayn would turn on the bloodline, but it didn't happen. In fact, he basically took out Kevin Owens with a crotch shot, if you will, a Greco low blow, as the great Bobby the Brain Heaton would say, on Owens to basically catapult the bloodline for the win. What did you guys think?
Well, I thought that it was going to happen that way. I knew the bloodline. And, you know, I do a show here called Talking Wrestling with Smoke and Jim Frazier. And Smoke and Jim said it, the bloodline will win this match by hook or by crook, and they did. And, you know, I thought at the beginning when we saw Sami Zayn talking to Kevin Owens, that maybe perhaps it could happen. But I didn't suspect it because I could see in Sami Zayn's face. He was sticking with the bloodline. I think it's going to continue. I'm not sure exactly what's going to go beyond that. Peter and Mark, two disgusting things happened. One happened on Saturday or on Thanksgiving, and another one happened tonight. And I'm very upset about both of them. First of all, how could Dominic Mysterio stoop so low as to him and Rhea Ripley go to his father's house on Thanksgiving and think that they're going to be welcomed in for Thanksgiving and then beat up his dad? That is really that is so low and disgusting that I'm appalled by it and I'm angry about it. But here's the thing. I don't think this was a WWE sanctioned thing. I think they did it on their own. They did go to jail. Unfortunately, they got out. Okay. And now I'm hearing stories that they're going to get fired because of this. They haven't been fired yet. They're going to get fired.
No, I'm not ready to say that. Definitely think it's storyline driven at the end of the day, and it's the reason why they did it is because they got your blood boiling there, bodyguard. It's absolutely a storyline. There's nothing to it. Mark, let's talk about War Games. What were your thoughts on it? The bloodline going over, of course, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and of course, what Ralph just mentioned, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley go against the father. I think this is eventually what's going to happen, and eventually Ray is going to have to fight his own son in a WrestleMania match.
Well, first of all, let's get the accolades out of the way. This is a show that's sweeping Tampa. Nobody touches you on Wednesday night.
Nobody.
Absolutely.
Second of all, my brother there in Pittsburgh brings up some interesting things. I'm not buying it. We can agree to disagree on this. I'm not a big fan of this. And if they didn't have Rhea Ripley as the mouthpiece in the Judgment Day, this would be a faction that would fall somewhere probably off the Atlantic Ocean cliff or something like that. But this thing needs to go quick, man. It's just a demoralizing act that I kind of tune off every week when I see these three clowns come out to the ring, and Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. I didn't really care for Dominic when he was with his dad. I still don't follow him too much, but he has no mic skills whatsoever. What they should have done a long time ago, if they wanted to get this thing really crazy, was bring Bray Wyatt as a mouthpiece, and then they would have got over on it. But they didn't. Rhea Ripley's doing a good job, but when Rhea Ripley breaks from this thing will fall off a cliff, my friend. And yeah, the Sami Zayn thing, I'll tell you one thing. Sami Zayn is over. And, he's kind of brought into this. This thing's going to go on for a while. I think what's going to happen is Roman Reigns is going to stick with him before he does with Jey Uso. That's why Jey Uso is kind of trying to, kiss up to Sami Zayn. But, man, oh, man, someone was telling me the other day real quick that the Roman Reigns is not the most impressive heel of all time. Dude, this dude is showing me the bar. Show me any other guy that's kept it this long and reinvented himself like Roman Reigns.
Well, I tell you what, it's a great point, but I think there's a guy by the name of Triple H would be up there as one of the greatest heels of all time. And I will also raise you on that as the dirtiest player in the game, my friend. You forget about Ric Flair. Woo! I definitely think he's one of the best heels of all time. With that being said, I feel like this is going to turn into, and Owens came out the other night and said he's done with Sami Zayn. I think eventually they're going to form a tag team. They're going to go against the Bloodline eventually at WrestleMania. I think that's the big time match they're setting up. Ralph, what do you think?
Yeah, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I believe that can happen because I think Sami Zayn is a shyster. I mean, he'll backstab anybody, and I think he's going to backstab the Bloodline. And he's gonna go with Kevin Owens. They've been friends for so long. I don't see why this isn't happening. So it's going to happen. And when it does, I'm going to say I told you so because I believe it's going to happen. It may even happen sooner than WrestleMania. We don't know that. But I do know it's going to happen sometime. It's bound to.
Well, I tell you right now, and if it does happen, they should definitely put Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens over. Until then, it looks like Owens is going to wrestle Roman Reigns. But going back to it, do you think, Mark, that's how it's going to turn out? Or are they going to book it like that where they have both of those parties together as a tag team to take on the Bloodline at WrestleMania?
I can see something like that, where they'll do it. I think they're going to need a bigger, and I love Kevin Owens dearly, but they're going to try to market this thing big if Roman Reigns is going to put a belt on the line. But the real interesting thing out of this War Games Survivor Series, I don't know what the hell they did with taking the belt off of Seth Rollins.
I love it. I got to say, I don't. And I'm going to tell you why I love this, because everybody thought, first and foremost, Mark, that Austin Theory was going to get over, that he was the chosen one, much like Drew McIntyre at the time, where Vince put him over and he didn't get over. The crowd booed him, and then basically he turned into a mid-card. They kind of did the same thing. Triple H took the Money in the Bank away from him. He wasn't ready to fight Reigns. So what do you do next? Everybody thinks he's going to be a jobber. They change his character around. No more selfies. He comes out like a badass. And the first guy you put him up against, the two guys, Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins, it's genius to make him the U.S. title. You get him to have those feuds with those wrestlers. You put him over with the crowd as a heel. Eventually, you're going to see Austin Theory wrestle John Cena in some capacity. And eventually, Austin Theory is going to be the future of the business when Roman Reigns walks away. I love this move by Triple H. He's setting it up perfectly.
But here's the thing, and Ralph, you can come in on this one too. We've seen this thing with Dolph Ziggler before. We've seen that with a lot of guys coming through the system. Well, I look at a Karrion Kross as more a threat than I do as an Austin Theory, because here was a guy that had one foot out the door. They were releasing him after the whole suitcase thing, and then they bring him back. And I think, if you're going to get this guy involved in it, make him, earn it. Where I would have really loved to see a Karrion Kross, Seth Rollins, and a Bobby Lashley. This is the guy I think this is the guy it's the future if Roman Reigns steps down, is Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I mean, Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, do you like the booking of what they did at War Games, putting him over Seth Rollins and a Bobby Lashley?
I don't particularly like it, but I've never been an Austin Theory fan. I've never been anyone that likes him. My co-host, Smoking Jim Frazier, he loves him. So, and he said it. He called it. He said sooner or later this kid's going to be, he's either going to get this title back or he's going to move on. And that has happened. And now we're going to see where they go with it. Does Rollins move on to more bigger and better things? Where does Lashley go? They have to keep the suspense up, guys. They have to keep it to where we need to, we need to know what's going to, or we're not going to know what's going to happen until it does. I've always said this. Professional wrestling is a male soap opera, because you never know what kind of drama is going to come or what kind of cliffhanger we're going to have.
Well, I love it because it sets it up with both prestige champions, guys that are over. Seth Rollins, one of the best in the business as a heel. He's absolutely changed his gimmick around. I don't necessarily know what the hell it is. I don't know. I don't know what he was wearing the other night. It looked like he was trying to be a Bella. If you look back at what I believe was Brie Bella or one of the Bellas was wearing, he was wearing the same thing, looked like a nightgown. I don't know what he's doing, but he's definitely over with the crowd. He's an extremely great talent, has always been a great talent, even when he was with the Shield. So it makes sense. And Bobby Lashley, to me, he's not the best on the mic, but he's great in the ring, and I think it makes sense to put a young kid like him against those guys and see how it happens. Now, with that being said, it looks like WWE reportedly is moving forward with Reigns against Owens, but there is some legitimate heat, gentlemen. I don't know if you heard this or not. Despite some reported heat between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, reportedly WWE is still planning to go ahead and involving the two superstars. Now, it was initially reported by Fightful Select that Reigns was visibly upset after Survivor Series War Games because of an unplanned spot involving Owens. Dave Metzler, Wrestling Observer Newsletter, had this to say, confirmed the report, noting that Reigns was indeed upset after getting popped, causing bruising under his left eye. Metzler also had this to say, everything had blown over after 20 minutes. However, no lingering issues remained. He also reported that any plans involving Owens, Reigns, Sami Zayn are still moving forward as expected, and they won't be a situation where Reigns and Owens refuse to work together. Now, this is kind of different because we talked about the AEW incident, CM Punk, and of course the Elite, Kenny Omega and Matt Jackson, those guys getting into a fight in the locker room. Roman Reigns is a professional. You don't think this is going to affect him, but it is legitimate heat at the end of the day. What do you think about this incident, Madman?
Well, first of all, I've always liked Roman Reigns, even when he was with the Shield, and he was kind of like the third guy in that Shield. He wasn't really the mouthpiece. It was always Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose. And, then when he was a face, he never can get, over. It just happened with the pandemic that he, like I said earlier, he reinvented himself. And what he's done is tremendous. He's battled leukemia. He's battled a lot of things. And he's just, you got to give it to a guy like this. And I know you guys are, you're high on Ric Flair and everything. Yep. Ric Flair was good and everything. But, when I look at, these heels, I got to go to like CM Punk. I got to go to, Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I'm telling you guys, when it's all said and done, nobody's going to touch the reign that Roman Reigns has run through this thing. As far as the Kevin Owens thing, I like it. I like Kevin Owens. He's a mouthpiece. This is a match I can watch 3-4 times play out. But here's the question.
He's definitely over because he's using the Stone Cold Stunner. He fought Stone Cold last WrestleMania. He's wrestled. I mean, he's had some injury history, but he's definitely over. And I think, as I said last week, I think he's one of the most underused talents in WWE. So to put him up against Reigns, I think is a moneymaker at the end of the day, Mark.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think. But here's the question, guys, when you really look at it. What the hell are they going to do with the Alpha Academy? What are they going to do with those luchadors that Zelina Vega's managing? What are they going to do with LA Knight? This is where they should focus on to try to resurrect some of these guys, because every time they come out, it's like, oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't know what you guys are looking at, but I'm thinking, how many times is the Alpha Academy coming out? They have lost their luster, my friends.
Well, I tell you right now, you're right about the Alpha Academy, but I do think Triple H will be more forgiving when it comes to tag team wrestling. As far as LA Knight, it certainly looks like they've set up a feud with Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt Six or his personalities. Or
you big dummy.
Uncle Howdy.
Remember when he was Eli Drake? He used to say, you big dummy.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Yeah. All right. So Ralph, he's great, by the way. He's old. But talk about it. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Is this a moneymaker in your opinion, Bodyguard?
Yeah, it is. I agree with Mark. I believe it is. But please don't forget, the number one contender for the belt right now is Sheamus. And don't hold Sheamus out. Sheamus is a good athlete, a good wrestler. He's been around a while. So Sheamus is number one contender. But I don't think he's going to beat Roman Reigns. But that's it, Roman Reigns' next contender whenever it does happen. And it turns out I like Kevin Owens as well. I think he's a good wrestler and a good mouthpiece for the company. I think he would be I wish they would make him the champ again. He was Universal Champion once. Then he had a bunch of injuries. He went through a bunch of, they didn't script him right. They didn't have him right in this, doing stuff. And, we'll see what goes on, but I do like Kevin Owens. I think it's going to be a great match.
Yeah,
and it's going to sell a lot of tickets.
Definitely, like it a lot. Go ahead, Mark.
Guys, I will tell you this: going into next year, keep your eyes on one guy. He's going to kind of remind me of Kofi Kingston. Keep your eyes on Butch, man. Butch is going to make a name for himself, man.
You think so? All right. You have been a former XPW announcer, Mark. You ever see a wrestler get upset and give out a receipt to another wrestler? And basically what that means is a stiff shot, and then, you get a stiff shot back. You ever seen that happen with a wrestler?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've definitely seen that in the heyday. And yeah, it's not warranted all the time, but sometimes they'll send a message loud and clear with that.
Now, the most famous shot was New Jack, of course, throwing, I'm trying to think of the guy's name, off the scaffold because he hit him with the move and basically messed up his head. His cranium was messed up from it, and he got a big-time receipt by throwing the guy off of the scaffold, which is probably one of the most dangerous things you'll ever see in professional wrestling. We're on with Mr. Mark Mancini, the madman himself, a Mancini Media, former XPW announcer, and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Mr. Ralph Williams. It's the
That's right.
I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something
it's
to
true.
Let's go out to Alec here. Sasha Banks is returning.
Yeah.
That's the big time question. Who does she return to? Because reports would suggest right now she's in negotiations with WWE. She's also talking to AEW. So, Mark, where does she go? WWE back there, or does she become All Elite?
I think she goes to WWE. I think Triple H is trying to resurrect some of these guys that either walked off on the company or were let go. And you see the streamline of them coming back, Strowman and Wyatt. And, I really think she's coming back. The question is, she's so damn good as a heel. You don't want to bring her back as a face.
Right. Well, you're exactly right. She's good as a heel. It's good as a face. She's one of the most talented wrestlers in the business. And of course, she walked away because she wasn't happy with her booking. Ralph, what did you think about her walking away because of the booking? And do you think she walks back into WWE, or does she make the trip and go All Elite?
I think she might go to AEW. I think she's been screwed over by the WWE. and I think she's had enough. And I think she'll go to AEW.
Well, if, who is your pal there? Is he the forgotten dog?
That's the Pittsburgh mascot.
Yeah, no, that's my mascot. His name's Bailey. That's my little buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Bailey right there. Of course,
Yeah.
Alexander running around being quiet right now. We may bring him on the
Bailey with damage control.
I'm telling
That's
you.
it. I had to bring him on because Harry had his cat on and Peter had the dog barking down there. So I figured I'd bring Bailey on.
I'm telling you, sometimes he drives me crazy. I love my dog, but please stop barking or people stop.
I had a lab at one time.
Yeah, well, he's not a lab. He's a Catahoula. He's a Louisiana hunting dog. He's supposed to be
okay.
versus the Saints. Alex says, in my opinion, they should have Cody Rhodes fight for the title, but my prediction is Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble. I think that's an astute observation. Everybody keeps on centering on The Rock wrestling his cousin, of course, Roman Reigns, but I think the true storyline at the end of the day is Cody Rhodes for him to come back, as the 30th participant, win the Royal Rumble, and go on and be the one that dethrones the tribal chief. What do you think, Mark?
You know what? I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be the guy to.
Come on now. Now this is a great storyline. Cody is
I know, but
in WWE history, he's from a long lineage from his family with Dusty Rhodes and of course Dustin Rhodes, Cody Rhodes. As the
here's and it's not a knock on Cody Rhodes and what he's done and everything, but I get more excited when I see a Seth Rollins go against a Reigns, a Kevin Owens go against a Reigns, a Karrion Kross. These are the kind, when you put a Braun Strowman, a McIntyre, a Cody Rhodes, I just don't think they're enough. They're enough to get over. There's just something about, a Stone Cold Roman Reigns would be something, and that would be a money breaker too.
Well, see, but here's the problem. If you get a part-timer, and I get you want to put The Rock. Thank you very much. I'm getting service right now. I got a chocolate shake from McDonald's. Thank you very much. As my throat is getting dry. We're in 2 hours.
We got Petco and McDonald's sponsoring the show.
I need to. I'm loving it. I love this chocolate shake here. I'll come out to you. I mean, how do you see this happening? For me, Cody Rhodes is an instant success. I think it's the storyline you should have at WrestleMania. He should go against Roman Reigns. It was looking like he was going to win the title, and then he wrestles Seth Rollins. He has a major injury. He's been out for a while. You have family history there, and once again, we keep on talking about it. It's the biggest elephant in the room. Roman Reigns eventually, like his cousin, wants to go off to Hollywood. So what better champion bodyguard than Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, I believe that to be the case. They didn't bring Cody Rhodes to WWE to hang around in the back of catering. They're gonna do something with him. They're gonna make him into something. He had to leave AEW because he wasn't making any hay there. So he's on. He went to WWE and now he's there to make something. And I believe they're gonna do it with him, Peter. I agree with you 100%.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Here's the thing, guys. What about a Bray Wyatt? Roman Reigns. Oh my God. That would be another good one.
That would be.
They kind of did that, and they ruined him at the time because the Fiend got beat by Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So now
and he got beat by Goldberg too.
Yeah.
Right, which ruined his character. So now you've got to rebuild him. You got to rebuild his character, and I don't know what Triple H and the writers for WWE have in mind for him. It should be very interesting. Looks like double personalities or something. And they're talking about him having some type of match, some crazy match, like a lights out match versus an LA Knight. What do you think about LA Knight and Bray Wyatt in a strange match like that, Mark?
Well, LA Knight, man, looks like a deer in headlights. He can't get out of an arena fast enough when them lights go out. But I will tell you this. Yeah, that would be interesting. And, with Bray Wyatt coming back in this thing, I think this is the start of something that, I can see a Bray Wyatt. You can call me crazy on this. I could see Bray Wyatt going against Scarlett and Karrion Kross. Maybe bringing Alexa Bliss into this thing.
Well, maybe that would be the part of the Wyatt Six. What do you say, LA Knight and Bray Wyatt? How do you like that match combination, Ralph?
Oh, I think it's going to be a crazy match, just like we had the haunted house match with Orton and Bray Wyatt. Remember that? Yeah. So I think it's or Hassel Whores. That's what it was, Hassel Whores. So anyway, yeah. So I think I like the match. You got to get Bray Wyatt started somehow. I'm just anxious to see who the Wyatt Six are going to be. There's all kinds of rumors out there as who's who and who's going to do what, and we're going to find out what's going on. There's been many combinations of people. It's just like putting a team together. Who do you think is going to be on your team?
I think Peter and Ralph, when you look at it, I mean, we could each pick somebody. I think Alexa Bliss is going to be one of them, at least. I know that. And who knows if Braun Strowman ain't part of this?
Nah.
Well, I think they've done that. I think they've been there and done that. God, that chocolate shake is really good. I'm just saying, man. Goodness gracious. All right, so we'll move on here. Let's go out to Alec. He has a question. I see Wyatt getting the U.S. title. I see him being the guy that's in that picture of, and eventually Roman Reigns, I think, is going to move on, and then you're going to free up both of those titles at the end of the day. Now, going back to it, Metzler also says from War Games that Jey Uso may have also been wrestling with an injury. Uso said on Monday night in a promo, I think I broke my hand for real. Metzler noted that Uso said that because he probably actually did suffer a legitimate broken hand either during or before War Games. Per Metzler, there have been talk of Uso working through a broken wrist before War Games. That's tough. I've had a broken wrist before. I can't even imagine. And ended up not being broken. He was apparently unable to avoid an injury, a slightly different kind, however. At War Games, Jey was the first entrant of the Bloodline. He worked the match with tape around the wrist and a couple of his fingers. He was among the standout performers and pinned Owens to pick up the win for the team. And then, of course, Jey again competed in the main event against Owens, which ended with the stunner and a pinfall victory for KO. Jey Uso has consistently been among the most entertaining aspects of WWE's weekly programming for quite some time, dating back to the creation of Reigns' tribal chief character and the formation of the Bloodline. Wrestlers that wrestle through injuries, and I just remember this one, and it was for a short time because what they were planning to do is have Stone Cold and, of course, Triple H as the two main villains. And, of course, I believe they're wrestling Chris Jericho at the time. And Triple H hurts himself, and he pulls a quad. But he continues to wrestle in the ring, and they actually lose. But he continues to wrestle, which is amazing in itself. So, Mark, your thoughts on a wrestler wrestling through injuries?
Well, yeah, and I've seen that happen before. A botched injury in the ring and everything, and they're always full to try to play through it because you don't want to be, especially whether you're the face or the heel, you don't want to show any, remorse that you're hurting in any way, shape, or form. They might try to move it up fast enough. I've seen a lot of them where the ref is caught on to it, and they've kind of, moved it up quick enough, and maybe people haven't liked the way it ended, but more or less they played through it. But boy, do they need some help after they get through that dressing room curtain.
Well, absolutely. I want to go out to this comment, and we'll come out to you, Ralph. I was at the show on Monday, and after the show, he was definitely in pain with that hand. And we got somebody from all the way from Manchester, England. Welcome.
Yeah, Manchester, England.
Good stuff there. Ralph, your thoughts on wrestlers wrestling through injury?
Well, we've seen it happen over the years. Hulk Hogan had a rib injury, was patched up against King Kong Bundy in WrestleMania, all the way back to a ton of those things. And, so it's happened, but it's not the best thing in the world. Playing with an injury, you're down 50%. It doesn't matter what kind of injury it is. You only have 50% of your body to function with, and part of that is because of the injury. So, playing with an injury as tough as it is, and I think Jey wanted to be part of the team still, even though I don't know what the medical staff told him, but so we'll see what goes on with that as we move forward. But Butch was the one that really made that injury even worse when he was twisting his fingers, and he already had that wrist injury. So with that alone, that just makes the wrist injury even worse.
It really does. You're exactly right. And I just can't imagine doing any of those moves. Another wrestler or another time where Hogan was hurt. I believe this was WrestleMania 17 versus The Rock. He looked like he hurt his ribs, and he fought through that. And that was a great match. And that returned, and went from Hollywood Hogan as a heel to Hulk Hogan the very next night, teaming up with The Rock against the NWO. Let's go out to John here. He says, it's dangerous, guys. Absolutely. Alex says, but yeah, I'm definitely biased on Banks because I know her since she first started wrestling, but she was at the show on Monday in Norfolk backstage. Now, I was not aware she was backstage, so great information there, Alec. Thank you very much.
Her and Naomi were both backstage.
They were both backstage, and to me, it seems like she's going to go back to WWE. Now, according to Sports Illustrated, The Undertaker praised the work of Sami Zayn and what he's doing. Undertaker says Sami is a vital part of the whole thing, and he's never been a bigger star, but this is also important to the bloodline. It gives them something new. Roman has been a champion for over 2 years, and that means he has to go out and beat everyone he faces, right? That's tough, but it's a new dynamic with Sami in there. So your guys' thoughts on The Undertaker, and let me ask you this. For a wrestler that is retired, and certainly looks like he's retired, do you think we have heard the last from The Undertaker? Or do you think he'll eventually come back to WrestleMania and wrestle a match? Or are you okay with him being retired and gone at this juncture?
I'm okay with him being retired and gone, guys. But here, he'll come back and do something. Look at Ric Flair. Ricky Steamboat just had his last match. He claims that's his last match he just had last week. Okay? These guys, and Peter, like Tom Brady, it's never say never. They say they're going to retire, and they come back. Yep. So I think Undertaker will come back at some point and do a match. Just one or two here and there. Nothing huge. I think he will.
All right, so go ahead, Mark. What do you think?
Yeah,
First, I think Undertaker's comments. Is he right on about Sami doing great work for the bloodline? How important is he? And do you think The Undertaker would return one of these days?
Well, first of all, when everybody wanted to join forces, when we saw The Miz try to join forces with Roman Reigns, we knew that wasn't going to work. But, at first we didn't know whether the Sami Zayn thing was going to work. And, here's a guy that proclaimed himself the Intercontinental Champion when he really didn't have the belt. And he's kind of rephrased and reinvented himself. And to get into this, I think it's been beneficial to the whole bloodline to have him a part of it. As far as, anything else comes of it, I think this is going to go, like I said, it's going to go on for quite a while, when you really look at this. But we've seen a lot of guys try to offer their services. It's funny how, he kind of, took Sami Zayn's advice and kind of brought him along, even though he's not a real bloodline of that whole family.
Right. I agree with that. And even Kevin mentioned that during his promo, that's not your real blood. And of course, we'll see what happens with that. John Bill Clinton Smith. I wrestled with a brass who stole my wallet in a sleazy hotel in Manchester. She broke my arm, and boy, she could run like an old bird. I don't know.
Well, I hope she left your briefs for you so you can get outside and pay your hotel bill.
I don't know if this is a real guy or not, but whatever. Thank you. I think the bloodline will backstab Sami Zayn soon. Do you think? It's the bloodline that's going to backstab him? Or
I think it's Sami Zayn because
I think it's going to be too.
Yeah, because Kevin Owens keeps planning these ideas in his head, so I think it's going to be Sami Zayn that's going to turn on them when they least expect it. It's going to cost somebody something. I think it's going to cost them the tag team championships.
Well, I think eventually they form up and take the tag team champions away, but it may be the bloodline. They are heels at this point, so maybe they do turn on Sami and become full-blooded heels, because right now, even though they're heel faction, it certainly seems like they're getting cheered more than they're getting booed. And Ralph, what do you say?
Well, Roman Reigns always got booed when he was a baby face. Now that he's a heel, everybody loves it.
Sure.
He is a great heel, and he does do his job right. And, so the Usos have been a heel before. So, I don't know what the Sikoa is going to be like down the road. No one knows about that yet. And Sami Zayn's been both. So, it's for them all being heels and everybody cheering them on. That's great. I'm glad, because you know what? That's what they like. The fans like them as heels, and that's the way they feel about it. The interesting thing is, you got you got other people talking about going up against the Bloodline. You got people talking about going up against Roman Reigns. You have Austin Theory, you have Karrion Kross. You got all these guys coming out going, yeah, I want to go up against Roman Reigns. I want to take his title. So, here we are. You got Karrion Kross, who's a heel, going up against, Roman Reigns is a heel. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's happened before.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what?
Go ahead,
Peter. You brought up an interesting point last week, and I'm kind of laying some credence to this thing too, because I can see Randy Orton coming back and either turning on Riddle, but before he turns on Riddle, he might focus his attention on Roman Reigns. That would be a money-making match too, like you said last week.
Yeah.
Well, even Rick,
I'm hearing that.
Ric Flair talked about this on his podcast, that he feels like Randy Orton, who's the best worker in the country, or best worker in the company,
Right.
not the country, but the company, should be against Roman Reigns. So,
yeah, I've been hearing that too.
Yeah. Ben Cornette has this to say: the turn will happen around January. No Way Out is in Montreal in February, where Zayn is from. So there'll be a match between Roman and Zayn. He says, notice too that Solo doesn't put his hand up every time the Bloodline salutes. He kind of keeps it to himself. Watch out what he does. Good stuff there, and there's a reason why he's called Solo. Single.
He kind of reminds me of the Indian in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He doesn't say nothing.
He doesn't say much of anything at all, and I think it works for him, and eventually they'll explore his character because he is a part of that bloodline. Now, speaking of bloodline, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bought every Snickers bar at 7-Eleven in Hawaii to make up for the Snickers that he used to steal from the store every day when he was Listen to this. I finally exorcised this damn chocolate demon that's been gnawing at me for decades. We were evicted from Hawaii in 1987, and after all these years, I finally got back home to right the wrong. I was broke as hell, so I used to steal a king-size Snickers every day from 7-Eleven for almost a year when I was 14 years old on my way to the gym. By the way, that's not necessarily the best pre-daily workout, but he says the Snickers was a pre-daily workout. So I guess if it works for The Rock, I guess it
satisfies, remember?
It does, and you're not the same if you're not satisfied, right? You're not
Let
the
me
same.
tell you,
Right.
that guy.
Peter.
Let me read the rest here. Let me read the rest. The
Go
same
ahead.
clerk was there every day and always just turned her head and never busted me. I exercised a few big demons over the years. I still have a few left, so I know this one seems very silly, but every time I come back home to Hawaii and drive by 7-Eleven, I always knew that I needed to go in and clean out every Snickers bar they had the right way. And as a bonus, it was a lot of fun to take care of everybody who walked into 7-Eleven while I was there. At least I could do, considering all the stuff, he didn't say stuff, I used to steal from there. We can't change the past and some of the dumb stuff we may have done, but every once in a while, we can add a little redeeming grace note to that situation and maybe put a big smile on some strangers' faces. Tell you right now, Dwayne Johnson can do no wrong. I don't care if he's The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He makes the greatest movies. He says all the right things. The dude right now could run for president of the United States.
And he'd win in a landslide.
He could win in a landslide. I'm serious. Sorry.
Ralph, you had a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
Well, I don't have a question here. I said earlier that there were two things. One happened Thanksgiving and another one happened tonight that kind of got to me a little bit. I didn't appreciate MJF when he did the William Regal tonight. I thought that was wrong. William Regal helped him win that belt. And then he goes and, stabs him in the back. And, I didn't. Here we go. MJF at it again. Thinks his doo-doo don't stink. And then he goes out and he makes up a new belt. And Tony Schiavone said it perfectly. This is a black eye for this company. And you know what? Tony Schiavone's right. Because the way that MJF is acting, and then he was bragging about, he even started talking about Triple H, WWE, and where he's going to go in January of 2024, where he believes there's going to be a bidding war for him between AEW and WWE. He mentioned all that tonight, and so here we go.
It's a storyline. They love to get your blood to boil.
No, I understand that, but that
MJF is just the
me.
greatest heel in the business. You talked about Seth Rollins. You talk about Triple H. MJF is right up there, and he's young, guys. He's 26 years old, but The Rock, I mean, again, Dwayne Johnson, Mark Mancini, and then you could talk about MJF if you want to, but again, this is a storyline, and Ralph, you're falling right into it.
Right.
It's okay. It's exactly what it's designed to do.
Well,
But
I
Mark,
like MJF. I think he's a great heel and everything. Would I put him in my top 10 of all time? Rick Rude's up there. There's
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, Jake the Snake was another one. You got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. I mean, you could put The Undertaker in there.
My mom used to say Dick the Bruiser, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruiser Brody.
But
Bruiser Brody.
Now I'd be hard pressed, guys, and you might say I'm crazy, and I might be playing with a half a deck, and God's got the other half. But I would still probably take Karrion Kross and Scarlett if I had a chance between those and taking MJF.
See, I think you're in love with Scarlett. That's all I'm hearing. Every time you mention Karrion Kross, you mention the original Smoke Show there, Scarlett Bordeaux. Let me go out to John Bill Clinton Smith. I don't know if this is a real person or not. I don't criticize her life choice, but she got off with money, wallet, keys, and money. She robbed my house, nicked my car, and maxed out my credit card. She was cute, though, and if you look past the wrinkles and gross obesity, Jesus, I didn't need all that, but thank you. And she was called Angelica. All right. Let's go out to Ben.
Wow, poor guy.
It's the poor guy now. Only people in AEW are over right now is MJF, Moxley, and the Acclaim. MJF is the modern-day Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Version when he was doing the rock and wrestling stuff with Hogan. And, of course, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who could forget the Piper's Pit with the coconut over top
with the coconut. And then Ray the Crippler Stevens gave him a pile driver right after that. I saw that.
Was that the most, at the time, was that one of the most wild things they did? Mark, you remember that? Was
that one and the one with Brutus the Barber Beefcake? Everybody forgets about that one too.
Shop.
Yeah.
Well, that was what Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. That wasn't. That was not.
Hey, where's
that wasn't
Bad
Roddy
News
Piper,
Brown when you need him?
Huh?
Yeah.
Where's Bad News Brown when we need him?
Oh, Bad News Brown. Yeah.
All right, guys.
No, I got some bad news. News, Barrett.
All right, bad news. Yeah, well, he's great too. I like to see him back in the ring here eventually. That's another guy I think.
Yeah.
But of course, he
How
went.
about Charlotte Flair? When's she coming back?
Well,
I heard her Twitter
Probably
says
Royal
says Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an injury update on her. She could be coming back soon because he's teasing it. We shall see. Austin Theory spoke to City News Ottawa about his recent character change. The cocky, arrogant, douchey persona just really gets under people's skin, and it did its purpose. And having the money in the bank contract and the way that character was, there's a little bit of ceiling. They just because when you look at Roman Reigns being so unstoppable and everything, whomever is going to beat Roman Reigns, it's got to be someone that's really going to beat Roman Reigns and not just by some luck. I think the chapter that Austin Theory is headed now is setting him up to build better that qualifier to stand toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns. So Austin Theory, the future is bright for that kid. Honestly, I think he's the future of
maybe it's the name,
right?
I don't know. There's just something about this, it kind of reminds me of one of these Jetson characters in the old cartoons, but I don't know if we could take him serious. I got to see more of it, but from what I've seen of it with the selfies and then almost being let go and then coming back, the real question, guys, is how long he's going to hold on to this belt before he loses it. Can he hold on to it past WrestleMania? That's that's to be seen.
Yeah, that definitely remains to be seen. Now, Ric Flair went back on recent comments he made this week, noting that he has not been invited to appear at the 2023 Royal Rumble in San Antonio. Appearing on his To Be the Man podcast, Flair clarified his status for the Rumble, saying, "I'm still looking forward to the 30th anniversary of WWE Raw. By the way, of course, social media screwed that up. I have not been invited to the Rumble. I'm not going to San Antonio to sign autographs separately on the day of the Rumble. I was not invited to the Rumble. However, if they want me to put my gear on like a last match, that's fine." Of course, Flair said, "I'm going to be there," when discussing the Royal Rumble on his podcast, but apparently meant he would be in San Antonio during Rumble weekend, independent of WWE. Now, Flair went on to say he was invited to the 30th anniversary episode of Raw 1 week earlier in January 2023, and that he would be present for that event. Assuming Flair makes an appearance on the 30th anniversary of Raw, it would mark his return to the company after departing in August 2021. Of course, there was controversy of him departing, not only because of his age, but of course, dark side of the ring and that report on the plane ride from hell. A lot of things got said in that. Tommy Dreamer said some things about Ric Flair, how he was doing some inappropriate stuff with his genitalia. It's just some vulgar stuff that got kind of, swept away under the carpet and now revealed. And I think WWE didn't want any part of that. First and foremost, should WWE invite him back for the 30th anniversary? Should he be invited back to the Royal Rumble, or should this be it? Because the man is 70 years old, and eventually there could be some consequences to that, Mark, right?
Yeah, I think they should invite him. And the real question here is enjoy the Tex-Mex food in San Antonio, do the river walk. I just want to know, is he going with Lacey Evans?
No, I think they had to kill that storyline because that to me was probably Charlotte with that storyline. Because it was like real life. Ric Flair does really date younger women.
Yeah.
Probably you remember that, and it was probably a bad memory at the end of the day. There's a foolish.
I love this sassy mouth of the South, man. What are they doing with her, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, Ralph, what do you think? Ric Flair back? Should he be invited back? Should he be able to wrestle in the Royal Rumble for a last match, or should this be it for Ric Flair?
I think it should be it. He wrestled his last match, at least he said he did, when he teamed up with Andrade to go up against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. I think it should be his last match. He should be there for the 30th, anniversary thing. I don't have a problem with that, as long as he's not wrestling. In fact, I heard he's been talking to Triple H. He wants to come back in some capacity with the WWE. I heard it might be cleaning toilets or something, but we'll see.
Easy now. Cleaning toilets. Now, come on. I'll give you the woo. But come on. That's Ric Flair now. Let me go back out to Ben Cornette. MJF is the modern day Roddy Piper. We already said that. Cleaning toilets. Really? Come on. Another comparison for MJF is Dino Hernandez from World Class back in the 80s. Good one. Triple H will invite him, Flair back, but not to wrestle. I agree with you on that. Ric Flair also had this idea because there has been some scuttlebutt about AEW possibly establishing a hall of their own. In fact, Flair believes that they should develop an AEW Hall of Fame. He said this also on this podcast this week. He hopes AEW President Tony Khan will move forward with the project. Flair believes that AEW Hall should include other top talents, not just people who have worked for AEW. I wish Tony would start a Hall of Fame. That would create a lot of interest and do it based on the people who he thinks were good in the history of the business and not just guys from AEW the last 3 years. Flair added that the AEW Hall of Fame with outside talents would help put eyes on the company. That would actually draw a lot of attention if he had his own Hall of Fame. Now, the Wrestling Hall of Fame is a lot like the NBA. It seems like everybody makes it at the end of the day, although there is a case out there where one former WWE superstar says the Hall of Fame is missing it. AEW with their own Hall of Fame should it not just be their own wrestlers, but wrestlers outside of their company throughout the years. Mark, a good idea or what?
I don't like the idea. That's like comparing the USFL with the NFL. I mean, come
Wow.
on. I mean, that's the way I look
Go
at
Maulers.
it. Yeah.
Well, look, we don't have a team in here anymore.
I know.
The Tampa Bay Bandits.
Yeah, they basically tweeted out, we're taking a break for a year. We'll be back in, 2024. Good luck with the fan support on
Memphis
that.
is coming back.
Go ahead.
The Memphis team.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody's trying to copy the WWE, and trying to, follow that. I think, if you got that much money, kind of reinvent something on your own, kind of think of something outside the box. Instead of going down that road and trying to figure it out, it just kind of loses its luster if you're maybe the third or fourth federation that's trying to copy the first one. I don't know, just one man's opinion.
All right. Let me go out to Ralph here. This guy, John Bill Clinton Smith, is interesting. But Ralph, your thoughts on AEW having a Hall of Fame? Should they do it?
No, I agree with Mark. Impact tried to do something like that.
Yep.
They had Sting, Kurt Angle, and I think Bully Ray or something.
Just had Raven go in. Raven.
Yeah, Raven.
Yeah, Raven was in there.
That Hall of Fame speech, I was like, wow, they really mean something to this guy. Impact did a pretty good job with Sting and Kurt Angle and everything else, but you're exactly right. Nothing's better than WWE, period. All right.
Is Billy Ray Clinton blowing himself another hooker?
I have no idea what this guy is.
Yeah, he's the champ now at Impact, so he can afford it.
we just have some of the cast of characters on this show. Let me go out to Ben here. If I'm AEW, I would wait a few more years before they do a Hall of Fame. It's only been around for a few years. Grow the company first. Absolutely agree with that. Now on the Click This podcast from WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash, he told Sean Palmer what it was like to walk into a locker room in the early years in wrestling and seeing guys like Harley Race and other tough wrestlers holding court. I would just love to take Buddy Landell and put him in the WWE locker room. This is Buddy in his prime, and then him going over Seth Rollins that night. Buddy could work his ass off. There were so many guys in the locker room. Well, number one, like you walk in the locker room, and yeah, Harley was smoking, but he was one of 11. I never walked into a locker room in my life, and like cigarette smoke was prevalent. Nash continued, when I broke in, it was you walk in, you be with the Hills, you weren't putting nothing together. So when you're green, you're just like, all I was told when somebody that's got more seniority and he walks into the room, give me a chair, because I gave mine. I gave my chair to Harley, and he just said, who broke you in? And I said, Jody Hamilton. And he says, it's good to see you got broken right. Nash continued, then I watched him go through the whole lacing the boots with, I told that mother effer. I was just like, wow, what a great he was. He also said that wrestlers were drinking. Sean Oliver asked him if wrestlers were drinking before matches around the time Nash started in the business. Nash said he didn't see that until years later. He said, I never saw anybody drink until the NWO started. That was like the first time I saw guys. And when we would sit around and drink beers at the show, it was funny because Kurt Angle and I would always like to have a couple of beers. Like even at TNA, we would have a beer. It was just like a part of the ritual before, because nothing's better than a beer when you get out of the ring. Kurt Hennig used to do it best. Kurt would have the singlet down, wipe the top of the beer can off. He pop it, take the big gulp and go, coldest effing beer I ever had in my life. Best beer I had in my life. And you just be like, good for you. I still got to work.
Wow.
Your thoughts on all these comments from Kevin Nash, kind of taking us behind the curtain there, talking about the great Harley Race and, of course, Buddy Landell, and also wrestlers drinking on the job. And this is my big-time question. With Stone Cold drinking all those beers all the time, was he ever drunk? I mean, do you get immune to that with drinking on those beers? Do you get a problem? Does that become an alcohol dependency with that character? I mean, Mark, make some sense of this, madman.
Well, when you look at it, I mean, the rhetoric going back and forth, just seeing these superstars in the locker room. And I thought, to the day, King Harley Race was the best King. Nothing against Jerry Lawler and those guys, but King Harley Race was the best. But when you got, Mr. Perfect in there and if all the heels in there, whether it's a Rick Rude, I would just love to be a fly on the wall just seeing it. And I saw it with XPW with the heels, and stuff. And it just, you absorb it, man, like a sponge, and sit there and understand what they're all going through. Tonight I was blessed enough before the show to sit down and talk with the 6-time world champ Gene Tennis and tell us about the 70s baseball and just to reminisce about, the A's and all this stuff. I mean, you just sit there and you think about it, and Peter, and I know you've done interviews, and Ralph, and you get a guy on there and you just think, and it just stays with you for weeks and months to stand here and reminisce about this.
It really is.
What
are your thoughts, Ralph, on Kevin Nash's comments?
Well, Harley Race was a great king, great wrestler, like Mark said. And some of these older wrestlers were great in their time. Nothing like them. I don't care what anyone says, especially certain individual tonight who insulted Bruno Sammartino, which I thought was kind of,
Was that
MJF
anyway? Was that MJF again?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you ready? storyline. It pissed you
Yeah,
off.
I know.
That's what he did. It's why he did it. That's why he did it, Ralph.
Well, you should have seen. You should have seen what he did to the Franco Harris statue here with the Heinz History Center when they were here the last time. And JF did.
Where's
I ain't even going to tell
from?
you.
Is he from Cleveland?
No, he's
I
from
don't even-
he's from Long Island, New York.
Long Island. He lives somewhere
Yes.
new. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. All right, finally here, we'll wrap this up. Speaking of a legend here, possibly coming back, Tony Khan said he would love to have Ricky Steamboat back in AEW. He says this on Busted Open Radio on Wednesday. It's definitely something to keep in mind. After the match, being asked about Steamboat having a match in AEW, I think it's amazing that Ricky Steamboat got back in the ring. FTR, one of the greatest tag teams on the planet. I'm excited tonight that Dax Harwood was going to go one-on-one with Bryan Danielson, two of the best pro wrestlers in the world. It's certainly something to think about. Ricky Steamboat's last match, one of the personal heroes, somebody as a kid, one of my all-time favorites, and to this day, one of my all-time favorites. I do think he was a great part of AEW. Already, when he came in as a guest timekeeper, I would love to have Ricky Steamboat back in AEW anytime. Again, Steamboat returned to the ring for the first time in 12 years over the weekend. He teamed with FTR and defeated Nick Aldis, Jay Lethal, and Brock Anderson, of course, the son of Arn Anderson, Nick Aldis, and NWA Power, now a free agent, and Jay Lethal for BPW Return of the Dragon on Sunday. Your thoughts, Ricky Steamboat? I think he's a little bit past his time, but
I'll tell you one thing, and you bring up an interesting thing. My three greatest matches of all time: Steamboat against the Macho Man.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels against Razor Ramon with the ladder.
Yes, sir.
And boy, those wars with Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick Rude. You can have everybody else.
I agree. I mean, those are some of the greatest matches of all time. Ralph, would you like to see Steamboat in the ring again, or is it past his prime?
No, he's done. He had his last match on Sunday. That should be it. I don't think he should come back either. My favorite matches of Steamboat was when he had that feud with Ric Flair in the NWO in WCW. I thought those were the best matches with Ricky Steamboat.
Well, who knows? Ric Flair wants to wrestle.
What were yours, Peter?
I mean, I'm absolutely going with you on this. That WrestleMania 3 match stole the show. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Hogan and Andre the Giant, and of course the passing of the torch. But the greatest match on that card clearly was Ricky Steamboat.
That was a good match, yeah.
Great
and
match.
I haven't seen a better ladder match than Michaels and Ramon.
It's tough to
Yeah.
match that physicality, both of those wrestlers being in their prime at the time. Razor was getting over, of course, with his gimmick, and Shawn Michaels was, Mr. WrestleMania. Guys, yes, absolutely. This has been a great show. Ralph, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
You can catch me on my YouTube channel, on my archive shows. I have Sports Corner, The Way I See It, and Talking Wrestling, and my new show, Ralph Williams One-on-One. I also have a TV show in Pittsburgh on PCTV once a month, with Sports Corner as well, with Smoking Jim Frazier. And Smoking Jim also joins me on my Sports Corner show and Talking Wrestling. And you can get a hold of me on Facebook. You can get a hold of me on Twitter and on Wimkin. And you can also on LinkedIn, you can also get a hold of me.
All right, good stuff, Ralph. The bodyguard of the Berg, of course, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution. All right, my friend?
Coming guy, man.
Good stuff there, Ralph. Mark Mancini, the madman himself, Mancini Media, of course, former XPW announcer. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
XM 203, Sirius 217, Fridays, Thursdays, WWDB AM 860 out of Philadelphia with Marianne Sal. Next week, we got Marnie Schneider. You got to get her on your show. She worked with NFL Films.
Okay.
Her grandfather used to own the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow. All right. Good stuff there. Great stuff,
Yeah.
Mr. Mark Mancini. Maybe you'll have me on XM Sirius Radio. I don't know about.
I love you, man. I've been phoning the thing. I heard you talk to Fred.
Yeah, we talked to Fred. It's gonna come down to some sponsorship, so we'll see if we can work on it. Maybe I'll just be a co-host of yours. How about that?
Yeah, I love you, brother. You know that.
All right.
Nobody touches Tampa like you on Wednesdays.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot.
Say hi to Harry and the boys. See you next week.
We'll do. Good stuff there, madman. See you later right there. Let's read the rest of these comments, and we'll get the heck out of here. Almost a 3-hour show, but A lot of stuff to cover tonight, and I was pumped up. And this happens sometimes when I have a bad day at work. You got to put it somewhere. You got to vent somewhere. Can't vent on the phone, lose your job. So here I am. All right, so let's see here. John Bill Clinton Smith. I don't know who this is, but goodness gracious, you have lots to say tonight over in Manchester, England. That was my plan with Angelica, but she legged it before I got my genitalia out. Wow. I'm done with working girls and thinking of becoming gay. All right. Hello, Peter and the boys. Wrestling talk time. My favorite. I used to hang around Val Venus back in the day. One of my favorite actors. Thank you, Jason. Kevin Nash was definitely big, sexy. John Bill Clinton Smith. I still wish I had been born good looking, then I might get some free action. Oh my God.
Shut up! Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I'm sorry. Oh my God, who are these people? Hulk Hogan theme song was my favorite. My favorite lyrics to the song is, when it comes crashing down, it hurts inside.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Let me go on to John Bill Clinton Smith. I just wish my mom made a better choice to be my dad. And to be fair, mom was no looker. All right, guys, I'm done with you for the night. I will go ahead and give you a USF update. Again, going back to the main story here from JP Peterson from yesterday. I have two sources telling me Deion Sanders was in USF football facility this morning, and the deal is 90% done. Money and control were issues big, but big boosters have stepped up. Deal expected 5 years, $25 million range. Of course, stadium was also in the deal, but he updated this today saying USF that it's 90% but not done. Many coaches and reporters, boosters have reached out. Some confirmed it. Others said it's not happening. My source in the Deion camp says he's undecided. Colorado may be upping the offer. Players told they will know on Sunday. That's the latest report here, is Deion has told players by Saturday that he'll give them a decision. JP goes on to say it's been an interesting 24 hours regarding USF football, and Deion Sanders appears now. Cincinnati opening has changed the situation, and they are front runner, but USF still is in play. And then with that being said, there was some other reports today. Deion has been telling recruits he will be at the school on Sunday. Decision appears to be down to Colorado, Cincinnati, and USF. Also, this from Kevin O'Donnell of Fox 13 on his Twitter. USF latest coaching search. I confirmed that Jamie Chadwell has been offered the head coaching job through multiple college connections. It was made Tuesday. Liberty is also making a push for Chadwell. He's weighing his options. With USF players being told the announcement will be revealed by Sunday, I think the list came down to Deion Sanders and Jamie Chadwell, given their names have final games this weekend. Just my opinion. This is from Kevin O'Donnell, but I think USF next coach is going to be Chadwell. I believe Deion wants more. This from Dick Vitale. He says AD Mike Kelly has a desire to build big-time football. Hope Deion Sanders studies their new facilities and the recruiting base for football. Deion would be a recruiting magnet, and prime time would be a big success. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for Deion Sanders to choose USF. Now, the key for that is how much money is involved. What is he asking for? How much power is he asking for? But at the end of the day, a lot of people feel like he's going to go to a bigger program. And that's an astute point. He could go to the Cincinnati Bearcats. He could go to Colorado. I get that. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are missing the whole fact that Deion is a guy locally from here. He's from Fort Myers. He can recruit the state of Florida. Not only that, he could probably turn this program around in the next 2 years. In fact, if you think I'm lying about this, listen to Bruce Feldman today on the Rich Eisen show talk about USF. In fact, he has this to say: if you told me USF was going to give everything he needs, and that be Sanders, I think Deion Sanders would be capable of winning that conference in probably 2 years. Here's Feldman on the Rich Eisen show this morning.
I mean, Colorado is a tough job. It's the worst roster probably among all the Power 5 schools right now. They're going to have to do a lot of gymnastics to get kids into school as transfers, which is something they have not been able to do of late.
Right.
You have an AD who has, interviewed for some other things and I think has tried to get out of there. And you also don't know how stable Colorado's position is, like conference-wise. Are they in the, going to be in the Pac-12? What's the Pac-12 going to look like, going forward without USC and UCLA? I think there's just a lot of question marks. I mean, if you told me USF, which is not that far from where he grew up, was going to, give him everything he needs, I think Deion Sanders would be capable of winning that conference in probably 2 years. I don't think Deion Sanders is winning the Pac-12 coming from Colorado in 2 years.
And that's the point. People keep on missing it. The AAC is down, so that's a winnable conference. And at the end of the day, if you turn USF around, then you're going to get your new stadium. You've already got the indoor stadium. You're going to get the on-campus stadium with winning. And look at how the fan base would respond to Sanders being hired. Not only would the fan base go absolutely nuts, you turn this team around in a couple years in a weak conference, but eventually expansion could happen. And oh, by the way, Deion talked about this today with his son being mentioned, and I'll read those comments here in just a little bit. Again, if you want to talk about this, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Sanders was asked today if his son, Sheeter Sanders, his son, the Jackson State starting quarterback, would go with him. And he said to the reporter, think about what you just said, man. Sanders then asked if the reporter had children. The reporter responded that he did not, and Sanders nodded and smiled again. When you do, you understand how wonderful that question was. Of course, Sanders said he's happy in Jackson. I'm enthusiastic, happy with where I'm at. I'm truly happy. I'm proud. I'm pleased. I feel like this is the best fan base in FCS football by far. I think it's the best fan base in the HBCU football. It has been in quite some time, and we have to work. We have work to do. We're not finished. Also being asked about the distraction process with Sanders considering a Power 5 program or any other jobs. Speaking about his team, he says they don't care about it. My team cares about what we tell them and how we work. Y'all act like these kids are crazy. They know darn well when they win, this kind of stuff happens. Everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone's calling you this and calling you that. That's a part of it. That's a part of life. And I love that part of life for them and for the coaches. So they don't think like y'all do. So there you go. That's the latest update. I would not rule out Deion Sanders going to USF. In fact, I think it's an advantage because it is in the state of Florida. And once again, maybe he doesn't want to go to Colorado or Cincinnati. With that being said, I'm your host, Peter Blake of the Sports Web. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. Thanks to all the guests tonight. Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Of course, Mr. Mark Mancini, Mancini Media. Of course, XPW announcer, former XPW announcer, and the bodyguard of the Berg, the forgotten son of Pittsburgh, Mr. Ralph Williams. We'll be back soon here. We'll give you all the updates on the Deion Sanders situation. And, of course, Monday night, Bucs versus the Saints. I hate the Saints, but I love saying this on a happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, the Rolex Reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And Bucs fans, it's your time. Have a great night.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.